Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important, just the question asker. My name is Raheem out of Atlanta, but we got some folks here this morning that are very important, and I want to say hello to each and every one of them, but always, always, always on the morning glow. Ladies are always first. So it's Mark. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Morning, Raheen. How are you?
Doing
I'm
well.
better now that our power's back on and I'm home.
Oh man, the warmness of home, and we're gonna talk about something right along those right down that alley this morning. Don't know how long we're gonna stay on it, but we're gonna talk about it for a few minutes. But good morning to you, and glad that the power's back on. Badger.
Morning and blessings.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Another blessed day to be alive.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. See, I had to go to you. Now I go to Ryan. Ryan's gonna give me some energy. Watch this. Ryan, good morning. How you doing this morning? Uh oh. Uh oh. I said he was gonna give me some energy, and I don't know where he at. Uh oh.
No, I'm dealing with a child who don't want to get out of bed and go to school.
Uh oh. Uh oh. What you say? Vacation time is over. Time to go to school now. Time to get on up now. Time to get
Yeah.
on up out of that bed. You got to go. Good morning. But listen, I want to ask a question, and I know that Ryan and you and Zamar, y'all just kind of experience a piece of what I'm talking about right now. You know, and there's other areas as well. But are there some things, Zamar? Are there some things? What are some of the things that in this thing called life we take for granted?
You and me?
Yes.
Home.
Wow.
We take home for granted. We take the comforts of home for granted.
Mhm.
Having heat, having electric, like everything that we experienced this weekend, just those little things that matter. We take it all for granted, man. We take
Mhm.
kindness for granted.
Mhm. Wow. Wow. That's it's good. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go with it. Go with it.
Well, I mean, just to give you an example, again, back to us losing power this weekend, our power was out for 4 days.
Mhm.
And we had just very recently made acquaintances, I will say, with one of my son's friends' parents.
Mhm.
And we had only gone over there one time for dinner. And of course, communication in between all of that since then. Then our power goes out and they open up their home to us, not
Wow.
really knowing us. And
Mhm.
we stay with them for the duration that our power was out.
Wow.
You do not get that sort of kindness anymore. It
Mm.
doesn't exist. And
No.
it was, it wasn't without extreme gratitude on our end, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I'd say we definitely take uh, kindness for granted.
Mhm. Badger, what do you say for that? What are some of the things in this day and time, man, that we really take for granted?
Life. Being able to take a breath without the use of a machine. There's a lot of things I feel that we take for granted.
Mhm. Come
We
on. Let's.
don't have to wake up the next day.
Mhm. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
You know, the experiences we get to have all throughout the day and each moment that we're gifted. Because we don't have to have the next moment.
Mhm.
It can be taken away from us just as much as it's given to us.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things in life that we can overlook or not appreciate the blessings of it until it's taken away from us, and then all of a sudden we miss it.
Mhm. You never miss your water until your well runs dry. That's one of the old sayings that people have been saying for years, and it carries a lot of weight. It really does. It carries a lot of weight, man, because whatever that water is, you never miss it until it's gone. You
Hmm.
never miss it until it's gone. I'm going to refresh my screen because it's looking a little grainy on my end over here. Is it looking grainy to y'all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was before you even went live.
Okay. Let me refresh the screen. And while I'm doing that, we still can hear you. Ryan, tell me what are some of the things that we actually take for granted? What are some of the things that in this thing called life that we individually, collectively, or however take for granted? They can still hear you. I'm gonna refresh my screen. But go ahead and answer the question, brother.
Pretty much anything. uh, Relationships, like face to face interactions with other people, is a big one. People be so sucked into social media and digital life that they forget about face to face interactions and uh, just having those relationships. Um, I'm guilty of that. I got many different friends on the computer. I can log into to games and different things like that, and uh, talk to people I've been friends with on there for the last 15, 16 years. But
Mm-hmm.
I can't be bothered sometimes to call my people that I can see face to face.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just like my wife said, the kindness of people, even though it's few and far between, we take it for granted. Um, and just you know, the mind of a child is also something we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we learned that this weekend when we're running around stressed out, wondering what's going to happen and waiting for the power to come on and being in our feelings for not having our comforts at home, and our children and our friends' children are just running around playing like there's not a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was definitely something that was a life lesson this weekend for me.
Do we take the time, Ryan? And I'm piggybacking off what you just said, but do we actually take the time a lot of times to realize and recognize the things that the examples is right in front of us, like that, like what you just said. A lot of time people don't pay attention to that.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people don't pay attention to a lot of things like that. It's not something that they're interested in.
Yeah, yeah. Is that a sad reality?
It's very sad. Of course, it's a part of life that you should just take in and enjoy.
Mhm. Yeah. And so much just passed by, man. Is right up on our nose, just passes right by, and we don't even pay attention. Like some of the things that you say that you all said that we take for granted a lot of times. A lot of this stuff we don't have to have. We don't have to have, man. But we just it's life, and sometimes we look at it as life. That's just what it is. I'm not appreciative of it. Don't care about it. But when it's gone, you miss it. You miss it. Being able to get up out there. Some people can't get up out the bed on a daily, man. Some people can't roll themselves out of their bed, get up and stand on their own feet, man. Somebody got to help them with everything that they do. And that we're able to get up and take care of ourselves, man. We may not have all the best situations and circumstances, but we're able to get up. Somebody, I think we got somebody on the phone line, ready to go to the phone line as well. But I think that's something that's to me, that's very powerful that we're able to do that. What do you say to that?
I'm sorry, Hannah. I'm distracted with kids too right now. What was your question?
That we're able to actually get up and do the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves, because some people can't get up out the bed. Some people don't have the ability to roll out of their bed and stand on their own feet and start their day. Some people, they have to start the day with somebody taking care of them, and that we can get up out of the bed, stand on our own feet with the strength with strength that we was given, and stand on our own feet and start our day and go through our day. Why do so many people take that for granted?
Because it's something that most of us can do without thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think it is, and we don't know. It's like that song, right? You don't know what you got until it's gone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so
Good.
I mean, that's then we realize all the times that we took it for granted and didn't do the things that we had the opportunities to do, and now we can't and we never will have those
Mm-hmm.
opportunities again. Like if we're not able to get out of bed, if we're not able, to breathe without a machine, or, God forbid, but if something happens to our legs where we just can't use them anymore, period. Like, yeah, we definitely take breathing for granted. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's just so natural, right? We take our eyesight for granted, and then one day you might wake up and it's just not there anymore. But when you're born with it and you have it your whole life, it's normal. It's just another day with it.
Yeah. Wow. And that's and being thankful. It means to me, it means so much just being thankful. Pete, good morning, sir. Good morning, bro. Pete, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. How you doing, sir? DKM Radio, panel, family, listening audience.
Hey,
How y'all doing this morning?
Hey, doing good. Good to have you, brother. I'm asking a question about what we take for in this thing called life, everyday thing called life. What are some of the things that we take for granted that we really shouldn't take for granted, but we do on a daily basis, Pete? What are some of the things we take for granted?
I think one of our counterparts did hit on it, but the things that are common that we just do normally, I believe there's a statement: familiarity breeds contempt.
Mm-hmm.
Things that we just you get up in the morning, you have no consciousness too often of the very functions of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And all that's going on to keep you experiencing this form of life. We're just not conscious of it. You got a whole system and an institution of effort going on inside of you.
Yeah.
It's a whole separate world going on. And if one of them things start acting up, I mean, immediately it can turn into a major problem and ultimately usher in your transition. I mean, how many of us are conscious of our brain, our eyes, our nasal and the ear system, your tongue, the sense of smell, the sense of touch, just your eyeball.
Yeah.
All that's going on with just simply your eyeball. Then you go all off into your organs, your tissues and your ligaments. What? Your intestine, upper and lower. What? Come on, man. So the things that are common, we tend to forget. You have a loving mother, hardworking father, a couple married, doing their best to provide and give attention, give time, give instruction, guidance, and teaching. But because they're there every day, clean up your room, clean up the bathroom, put your clothes up. Don't say that. Don't do that. Don't go there. Don't eat that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're getting on my nerves, not realizing they're doing their best to bring out the best in you, to develop you to your fullness, and you're not appreciating it. And the second mama's gone, it's a whole nother experience. Second daddy's gone, it's a whole nother experience. Your little pet that you love so much ran out in the street, got creamed by a Mack truck. And look at the pain that in the lack that you feel from that puppy getting killed, let alone your mother.
Yeah.
That you didn't show love and appreciation for your father, working while he's sick, working by the sweat of his brow, doing the best he can. Huh? Man might be out here making great strides, not just struggling like in sharecropping days. He might have a great education, PhD, all the alphabets behind his name. He out here getting it in. So do you appreciate it?
Wow.
Are you appreciating the example of it? Are you appreciating the labor, the work, the task that it's taken? His success may have started 3 generations ago, and he may be the culmination of hard work from 3 generations ago. Exactly. They didn't get a chance to go to college. They didn't get a chance to learn to read. They didn't get a chance to go to school. But they positioned themselves to put him in a position to do all of that. And now here it is. He's something fantastic, and he happens to be your parent. Are you giving thanks? Are you giving thanks? Are you conscious of? So I think the things that are common, the things that we just do naturally, having all your 5 hands, your fingers on your hand, lose one and see what that's like.
Exactly.
Many people out here just going to work doing a normal task. Boom, something happened and lost a finger, and they missed that finger, brother.
Exactly.
You ask a diabetic patient that has to have a limb amputated, they missed that limb, brother. So let us slow down and take a moment and do our best to be conscious and teach that present consciousness and give thanks. In all things, give thanks. Be grateful, right?
Exactly.
So we
I'm gonna
need
tell
to
you.
definitely pay attention to that and give thanks. A lot of the things that we're told that matter so much, family, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you live, you're going to understand that your family is one of the most important things in this life. It's not all the stuffs. It's the family. It's the relationships. It's the time you spend. It's the memories that you make. It's that those little conversations and those little interactions that set life in order and set life in place and perspectives and teachers and training for one to be able to develop themselves into the full, complete them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also through you. So let us give thanks and slow down and give appreciation for the things that truly matter.
Exactly. That's good. Very well said, brother. Very well said. And I have a friend of mine. I'm not gonna call his name on here. As a matter of fact, he reached out to me yesterday. And if he is listening, I'm gonna call him back. I'm gonna call you back today if you are listening. I wasn't able to get to the phone yesterday, but I remember, and this a man's man, bruh, one of them kind of fellas. But I remember when he lost his mother. And he used to always talk about how his mother always get on his nerves. And, she always this and she's always that. She's always on me. He used to say that all the time. And I said, man, I used to tell him, man, just appreciate the fact she loved you. And I don't think he did until he lost her. And we was riding in the car one night. And we were just talking. And he started crying. I was like, man, hold on. No, man, hold on. Where this come from? And he said, Raheem, he said, you don't know how much, man, I just wish I could have her. He said, man, you don't know how much I wish I could have her to get on my nerves just one more time. Man, that even thinking about it right now still breaks my heart, man, because he had her his whole life until God took her home and he didn't appreciate her, man. He had her and he never really appreciated, just complained about she's always getting on my nerves. She's always, and then that to have him in that car with me and say, man, I would give everything. Mr. Hicks, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem. Good morning, family.
Y'all started me off with y'all going sweating eyes this morning, boy. Yeah, y'all. Yes, sir. Yeah, but it's important, man. We gotta appreciate the things that we have, man, because this is a grown man crying, saying he would give everything that he have, man, just to have his mother get on his nerve one more time. Wow. Mr. Hicks, what are some of the things that we take for granted? Putting you full screen, brother.
Oh, okay. Wow, bro. Well, yesterday I went to church for the first time in so long. My uncle Jewel, who I used to come down when I would come down south for the summer with my mother. We spent 3 weeks in Anderson with my uncle Jules, with her sister, and the other half in the net with my father's people. He turned 100 years old on Wednesday.
Wow.
And my Aunt Moselle, his wife, she's 96.
Mm-hmm.
If my mother was alive, she'd be 102 today.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that in the church with all my cousins, that all my cousins from when I was little,
Mm-hmm.
and I met this girl. I saw this girl, Ann Lois, when I was about 12 years old. Man, she was my heart. And she lived about 3 miles from us. But me and my cousins would get up and walk through the woods, taking the shortcuts to go over. And they all knew that I liked Ann Lois and she liked me, right? And we sit on the swing. She'd be on one side of the swing, I'll be on the other side of the swing, just be swinging, talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't seen her since then until yesterday at this service. I didn't know it was her. She's going to college. She's done all these great things, all this stuff, right? And I didn't know it was her.
Mm-hmm.
And we came out to church, and she said, she said, I thought I saw you. I thought you was Tony. It was my brother. I said, no, he's passed. I said, "Who are you?" And she said, "You don't remember me?" And I looked in her eyes, and her eyes were still the same, beautiful eyes,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, Aunt Lois, boy, I was in love with you." And
Mhm.
she was standing there with this other gentleman from church, right?
Mhm.
And when I said I knew, it shocked her.
Mhm.
Like she joked, he said, "Okay." She lives in Atlanta. She said, "I gotta go," and I felt the same kind of way, kind of because I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
learned that stuff like an honesty thing.
Mhm.
But it's there being around people, and I'm just thinking about my cousins. They got their mother and father both now at 96 and 100 years old, and I buried my mother and father so long ago.
Mhm.
It was like that thing of, and then I thought about what everybody I knew that has passed before me. Every last one of them, I wished I would have appreciated them more.
Yep. Yep.
That's just a general kind of everyone, my cousins, my everyone, but
Mhm.
no one as much as my mother.
Yeah.
It was the same
Yeah.
kind of thing. I felt the same. I was the oldest, and I was always class with my mother because she was the hard-nosed Christian, and my father was understanding kind of Muslim. And I had
Mhm.
a struggled like who, which side to fall on. And she was hard on me because she thought I should have been a preacher. It was prophesied. You know how they say it's
Yeah.
prophesied, you go do this. And she always struggled to try to put me, but because I always struggled her when she got old and she was sick, right? She was in the throes of death. And first time I ever seen her weak, a strong woman. She's the oldest of 12. She was the matriarch of the family. She was a strong woman. I think that's why her and my father clashed. She had assumed over masculine kind of personality because she was a leader over other men in church.
Mhm.
Well, anyway, I just get into a thing again. But when I saw in that weakness, she never kissed me. She never hugged me. I
Mhm.
always knew she loved me, but it was just like a resistance to hug me because I wouldn't fall in line with her a way of thinking. I always had my own way of thinking.
Mhm.
And she would throw a Bible verse, and I would throw him back her. I equipped myself with learning the Bible just to combat her.
Mhm. Wow.
It's-
Wow.
but 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 when she died,
Mm. Come on.
and
Come on. Come on, brother.
I didn't have my wife then because we were divorced.
Mhm.
Mm.
Okay. 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 I understand, brother. Trust me, I understand. I understand. My mother's still here, but I can feel that pain. I can feel it. I can feel it, brother.
Revel in the blessing that you still have your parent
Mhm.
because it's written one day you won't.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wow. Wow. I didn't know this topic was gonna do this, man. That's
You
two of us.
started this. You did it. You said this time. You started.
You
That's
should
two
have known better.
You know I'm vulnerable. I'm old soft. You know I'm vulnerable. I cry watching movies. I tell you,
Hey,
and I
hey,
love it. I love having a heart. I mean, I've been watching the movie and I've been
yeah.
sitting there, boy, it got me.
Anyone who have a heart, take me in their arms and love me too.
Go
Let me
ahead,
keep this thing going. Let me keep this thing going. Hey, Miss Hicks, there's two of us. There's two of us this morning. That's two. I don't know if it's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
turn
any
my
more, but
camera off so I'm gonna finish the deal about. I mean, I'm still here though.
there you go. Good deal. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I can't complain. Just out here enjoying another beautiful day, man.
Yes, sir. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. We're talking about as a human in this thing called life. How many things and what are some of the things that we just take for granted? You know, they're there, it's gonna be there tomorrow. It's gonna be there. We'll do it next week. How often is it that we just take things for granted? Or people for granted?
Every day, every day. I mean, I mean, you can look at yourself and look at other people. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes people don't like to look at themselves. They'll think they're doing the right thing, and then it takes somebody else to come back and tell them, hey man, you neglecting this or you neglecting that. It's pretty much wrapped around the environment that we live in now.
Mm-hmm.
In today's times, you really don't have enough time to really bond with people that you should bond with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We're so distracted by trying to feel good.
You know, just trying to do the things that we feel like doing or that we want to do. Sometimes we don't do the things we need to do. And a lot of people that we shouldn't neglect are getting neglected. A lot of things. You know, I got a friend. She lives in, I want to say St. Louis. It might be Kansas City, a Facebook friend. And we communicate pretty often. And she was taking down a Christmas tree yesterday.
Good Lord.
All the gifts still up under it.
Huh?
But when I tell you that this woman is, I mean, man, one minute you might see her in New Orleans, and next minute you might see her at the Super Bowl. I mean, when I tell you, she is nationwide. She rip and run. She always got something going on. Her nightlife is always something social going on, networking. And then she builds decks and teaches children, young people carpentry.
Mm-hmm.
So she always busy. Got a cigar, boy. I tell her, I'm like, man, you're a superwoman, man. I admire you. But then she went to taking down that Christmas tree yesterday. And she was laughing about it. But I was just letting her know, you know, that really goes to show you how busy we can get sometimes. And we can overlook some of the basic things. Now, there's people riding by your Christmas tree up in your window.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, yeah, she got it going on, but something off.
Yeah.
She still got her Christmas tree off. She must be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because really and truly, you know, it's really hard to tell sometimes if somebody really has a problem or if they just distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Are they really crazy? Or has this world got them so caught up in ambition and motivation and drive? Are they so driven to the point where they are chasing pleasure or maybe chasing success, chasing networking so much to the point where they don't even sit down with their sisters or their children the way they need to?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what's going on with them. So, I mean, you know, I think everybody does to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on the job, co-workers might not just working next to them until they get fired, and then somebody new got to come in. Oh, now you realize just how important this person that was in the process before you was.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you got to be a little bit more aware of the fact that these things, you can't depend on the parts that you get from this person in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, sports, you name it. You know, sometimes you can get comfortable and take the person that's to you for granted. Then all of a sudden, when they bring that other quarterback in, you wish you would have kept the last one.
Yep. Exactly. Wow. There's so many different levels to this thing, man. And like everybody's saying, man, we do it every day. Knowingly or unknowingly, we do it every day. Leonard, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, in the Morning Glow family.
You caught me in the middle of a sneeze, brother. We talking about granted and taking things for granted in this thing called life, Leonard. How often is that we just take things for granted, man? You know, it'll be okay. It'll be there tomorrow, but sometime tomorrow never comes. Do we take things for granted, Leonard? And why do you think we do that? If we do,
Some people do out of habit.
wow.
Prayerful people don't. I every day. That's in my prayer every day.
Mm-hmm.
That I never take anything for granted. Because I don't. The days change so fast, minutes change.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you have to be careful. You know, when people say, you know, say dirty things to people or are just evil-spirited people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may think, you know, I can just apologize. And then that opportunity is not available to you.
Yep.
That's why you should treat people the best that you can all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all those people, you know, they say, well, I should have did, I should have. Yeah, you should have, but you didn't.
Mm-hmm. Leonard, you know, one of the things,
just go around here taking advantage of people, you know, betting on, oh, I'll fix it later.
Leonard, you know, one of the things that I really happy with myself that I'm able to do. See, everybody's on here and we all having our conversation and stuff like that. See, you and I get into a heated conversation and we mad at each other. We angry. We mad. We ready to go to fisticuffs with each other. And I go to the next person, I could treat them like, you know, like I never had that situation. But when I come back to you, man, we gonna pick it right back up. But I don't spread it. So some people, when some people are mad, Leonard, they mad at everybody. You know, people that had something to do with it, people that didn't have anything to do with it, they mad at everybody, man. And that's how they,
Yeah.
and that's how they go ahead.
You know, those are the type of people you have to distance yourselves from.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, a lot of people think, you know, if you run into people who are not, like, say, for instance, a person like myself, we fall out, but if it ain't nothing to you, it ain't nothing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
far as I'm concerned, you know, that's our last conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you come back around or whatever, you know, I'm not gonna be no different or anything like that.
Yeah.
That may throw some people off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you can't have your way with me in conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's better to, you know, we talk about that golden rule. If you don't put it out there, you don't usually have to worry about it. Don't put ill will out, and you don't have to worry as much about it coming back.
Coming back at you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Zamar, what's on your heart, sis? Radio, television, conversation, communication.
No, I mean, not
yeah,
really
yeah.
anything. I'm just listening to everybody. I try to be thankful for everything, really,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just try to treat people the best that I can and the way that I would want them to treat me. And, you know, because that's the one thing I don't want to do is live with regret. And I have enough of that already in my life. I don't want to live with anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Badger?
Did you ask living with regret or still the same one?
Still the same one. We're still on the same one. And she said she don't like to live with regret. There's a part of her answer. But what do you say about the taking for granted?
Taken for granted. Man, one of the things I've learned is things like trauma that affects us, memories that affect us. You know, a lot of people don't take those for granted, or they take them for granted.
Uh-huh.
The lessons that it can teach us of empathy and the kind of evil that's in this world, and a better understanding by experience. It's there's so many facets to taking things for granted, like just not realizing the importance of them. Maybe you got a flat tire, even though it's upsetting and frustrating and everything else, but the path that you were going on ends up having a wreck. Maybe you would have been a part of it. You know, things in our lives are gifts, and it's things that we shouldn't take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
We should be thankful. And it can be hard, especially if it's a negative thing. If it's a negative experience, those are the hardest. But everything has a reason, everything has a purpose. As much as we don't want to admit it, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it stinks sometimes, some of the things that happen to us. However, it sometimes those experiences give us more of that passion of our belief system.
Mm-hmm.
That
Badger, what do you think about the fellow? And I'm not gonna call his name. Excuse me. I'm not gonna call his name, but he said in the car with me crying, saying he would give everything to have his mother just to get on his nerves one more time, because he took her for granted. He thought that she was always nagging and always this and always that, but when she was gone, and he didn't have that anymore, that affected him, man. That really affected him. What's on your heart?
you know, that's a hard one for me to answer,
Mm-hmm. Why's that?
because I don't know what having a good mom's like,
Mm,
even a nagging one.
mm.
Even today, I have to keep mine at a very far distance for the safety of my children.
Okay.
So
Let let me go.
Not that one.
Yeah, got you. Let me go to Ryan. Ryan, answer that. How painful can that be to be in that situation, man? To have someone in the car with you, grown man crying because he missed his mother that much. I would give anything, is what he said. I would give anything just to have her to nag me just one more time. Just let her nag me one more time. Because that way I know she's here. Ryan, talk to me.
That's always a hard one to deal with. As men, we're programmed not to look or not to cry about stuff as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And people look at us some kind of way when we show emotions. So that's hurdle number one, is overcoming that, and to make yourself that vulnerable to another man, another
Mm-hmm.
hurdle in itself.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know how to comment on that. I mean, I've lost people close to me, but never, a mother figure. Just, friends, people I know on the streets lost their life due to gun violence and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And that'll break you.
Mhm.
And I lost my great grandfather. He was probably the only family member that I could comment on, because
Mm-hmm.
he was my best friend,
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
And the only reason I got through it is because he paid me a visit before he decided to leave this earth.
Mm-hmm.
He
Wow.
manifested in front of me and told me he was leaving. He was tired of fighting. He had
Mm-hmm.
cancer. He fought it for about 7 years. And he manifested in front of me and told me, I'm done. Tired of
Mm.
fighting. I'm going to go ahead
Wow.
and go. And about 10 minutes after that happened, the phone rang. It was the hospital saying he had gone.
Mm.
So, it's something else that we take for granted, especially as men, is being vulnerable and having emotions and having someone that you can confide and share those emotions with. I think
Mm-hmm.
is something that we take for granted.
Absolutely. 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 Mr. Hicks, talk to me, sir.
Oh yeah, this. I was thinking. I was thinking about that thing of regretting and coming to understanding and understanding what you of what it. In spite of what everybody tell you, what is the reality? What happens
Mm-hmm.
at death? Where is it? I know. I heard. I heard the teaching and studied the teachings that we die and we go in the ground and we're waiting for the day of judgment when all bodies going to rise and Yom Kippur, the last day, all the stuff. But it was always something handed to me and say, this is what you should believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Believe in this. This is what
Yeah.
you're taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
And rooted in that belief. And then the old thing about a hell that's burning. If I don't do right, I don't live right. And 144,000 and all the rest of them, all the different stuff. But what I
Mm-hmm.
come to understand and believe and to know, it's like when I hear Ryan talking about that manifestation, that
Mm-hmm.
spiritual. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
those things happen. That is
Mm-hmm.
something beyond the physics and understanding of that we have. But I
Mm-hmm.
know this here in my heart of hearts that there's no real such thing as death, and there's an eternal quality to us that is that spark that comes from the Creator. So when I can raise my vibration out of this world vibration of all the things that we're challenged with every day and get into that space, I get in contact with my mother now
Mm-hmm.
and my brother and all those. It's not often, but I feel their presence.
Mm-hmm.
And a bird will come. A bird will come and do something that the birds don't normally do.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
acknowledge. And I just say silently. I won't say it to anybody around me. I don't know which one and who it is, but I know it's someone. And I know that the God, the source, is a love, and it's not judge, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I do know. There's no internal punishment. I don't know how it works out, how that things people that do the bad things, but I know this. We don't choose coming here. We're born into the middle of this confusion, trying to find our way in bondage. And bondage by
Yes.
the cultures around us, and bondage by the things that's in our DNA genetics from generations on, things in our personality that are for 10 and 15 generations back that affect our life that we have to conquer. But so I sometimes when I get melancholy with regret, but then I remember. I mean, the Native American and Aboriginal indigenous, they call them the ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
The African culture, they call them ancestors. They walk around with the conscious aware that they just on the other side and they can assist you and advise you.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's this mystery of this life. It is a mystery.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one can explain it. No one can explain the creator. No, I mean, you can't even wrap your mind about intelligent source that create everything we see
Mm-hmm.
and everything that's happening in this world, and try to attribute to whatever we do. But in our hearts, we all gotta face that moment.
It's
And
coming.
I think, and by knowing it's coming and being conscious, and that makes you appreciative of the life you have and the people around you that are still alive, and it make you conscious of how you live this life. There
Mm-hmm.
is a reason being truthful. There's a advantage to being honest and being transparent.
Mm-hmm.
This world tells you don't be who you really are. Put on a mask when you go over here, and a mask when, how they call it, you do job interview talk, and then you
Mm-hmm.
do talk. You got all these things, but there is a strength in being true and being honest and doing what's right. It ain't easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get ahead doing wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a reward, and that reward, I believe that it sort of dictates what happened to us after this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where we come back at. I do understand. When I was in Vietnam, one time I was walking through this rice paddy. First time it ever happened to me. And I saw the sun come up. It was red. And it came right up out of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And just at that instant, that moment with the smell and the people that were with me, everything was like deja vu. I said,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen this. I've been in the East. I've seen the sun rise like this before, but
Mm-hmm.
not in this life. I'm talking too much.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Rico, talk to me, brother.
I'm just listening, man. You go ahead.
Okay. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
I think, from what I'm understanding, I'm not sure if we got into the topic of the day or not. It's a difference when you actually seek the truth of the matter as it relates to certain things. Like some folks say, "Oh, suicide, such a shame, such a shame." You don't know that person like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what that person was going through. Maybe that person committed suicide because they just wanted something else. They wanted to find out if it was better on the other side. You know, everybody don't look at death the same way. For some people, death is the cessation of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, it's welcome. Or you have those people who I've been fortunate enough to be raised around who had no problem sitting down and giving up their spirit because
Mm-hmm.
they were ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it almost seemed as if they had walked with God in such a way that it's time. Okay, I'm ready. Let me go. Don't keep, how you have me with people that don't resuscitate me.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Those people who have that are at that point in life where they want to go somewhere else. They want to go find out if that place that they have been dreaming about is there. Or some people are just that sick of being here.
Mm.
I think that everything else is selfishness. I wish you was here. I wish you was here. Why? I couldn't walk. I couldn't breathe well. I was in pain every single day. Why would you wish me still here?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So it's a difference on how different people look at death. Different cultures look at death different as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us, it's something, I've read a lot of books, and some of the best stories I've read have been in these types of settings at funerals, right? And it's this hysterical, the things each separate character goes through as it relates to the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, oh, I got all these regrets and all this, and then other people are like, well, look at them. Well, you didn't treat them well when they was alive.
Mm-hmm.
Now you here at the funeral clowning. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
everybody know y'all didn't have a good relationship.
Yeah.
So, people should really look at death, differently. Grief is going to be there because you're naturally going to miss a person.
Mm-hmm.
One of my best friends' mom passed a day ago. And, how I asked him how he was doing. But because we have been raised a certain way, we have that faith that when our loved ones go on, it's the cessation of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And we can definitely always remember the great times, which there were. Because if you had close friends like your mother knew you, you knew their mother. I mean, I got friends I've had so long till they remember when my dad took us all fishing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you remember those things as opposed to trying to make them about you.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it becomes dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you try to make it about you.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. That's good. That's good. Anybody have anything else they want to say on this topic before we move on? Ryan. It is said, the people say that the poor will always be among us. It's been said that the poor will always be among us. But is being poor? Let me get back to my question here. Hold on for a second. Make sure I got it right. I want to read it exactly the way it is. It's talking about, is being poor a reality? Is it a reality, or is it a mindset of the person or the people or the individuals? Is being poor a reality or a mindset?
That's a pretty deep question. That's a multi-layered question. I think having people that are poor is a reality. It's an unavoidable reality, but it's an unavoidable reality because people make poor decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it sounds like an oxymoron, but you don't have to be poor to make poor decisions.
Mm-hmm. Well, come
there
on.
are things that are brought up all the time about being products of your society and products of your environment. But I don't believe in those things because
Mm-hmm.
I know where I came from and I know what destiny, if you will, would have turned me into the type of individual that I could have and should have been by what life afforded me when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had every reason to be a thug, every reason to be out there doing stuff uh, that I shouldn't have been doing, but I decided to go a different way. I found those avenues to get out of that instead of perpetuating the cycle. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people out there, multiple backgrounds, they believe what they're sold. They're
Mm-hmm.
sold this bill of health, if you will, that you grew up here, so this is how life is. There's no way for you to do anything to get out of this. There's no way to better yourself because of, maybe it's your skin color, or maybe it's just the area you grew up in. You know, we got ghettos, we got trailer trash, we got all these different scenarios that are afforded to us as human beings, and some people just take what they're given and never try to move forward. And you know, in today's society, it's 2023. Every person has a way to be successful. They just have to want the change.
That's good. That's good. Rico, is being poor a reality, or is it a mindset?
It's both. I mean, you know, I sort of figured, you know, I ain't gonna say figure because really ain't nobody just went completely in that direction, but I figured that somebody would probably eventually go to the man-made concept of poor because you don't have money. But I think I see more mentally poor people.
Yes.
Mentally weak people.
Come on, Rico. Come on.
And so, you know, when I think about being poor, I think about the people that don't have any integrity or any morals, or that will sell their morals and integrity for the right price. The people that will say, you know, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. You know, sooner or later, when you start making things, you throw morals out the window. You know, your moral. I mean, you know, your standards lower.
Yeah.
And as soon as you start lowering your standards and accepting certain things because it's beneficial on the other end, you throw integrity and honor out the system, out of the way, just because it makes sense. If it makes money, it makes sense. I mean, you hear people say that all the time.
Yeah.
Money over everything. It's a dog-eat-dog world. You know, sort of going back to what you were saying earlier about people appreciating people, and then all of a sudden you don't appreciate them when it's too late. It ain't enough money in the world to make you bring your mama back. But while you was out here getting it, chasing that money, because you didn't want to be financially poor, you were mentally poor because your mama was still just wanting to talk to you on the phone, but you was too busy being a celebrity. You was too busy to come home. And, you know, Nia Long spoke about how she had to learn to love her father because she didn't get him the way she wanted him. She had to share him, and she felt a certain type of way. She didn't never get disrespectful. She didn't stop loving him, but she sort of felt cheated. But then after she realized that there were so many other people that didn't have a father like hers, that he was a father to others besides her, and that he was needed. Then it took her to accept that, you know what I'm saying? But see, she could have been selfish. She could have been mentally poor and just thought about herself and said, well, you know what? I don't care what he did for y'all. He didn't do this and that for me. Now, some situations is justified. It would be justified for a child to feel that way about their parent if they were completely neglected, and then that parent went and put everybody else in front of them. And that happens. You know, it happens with children and their parents. You know, it happens when older people get to elderly. They get in nursing homes, people forget about it. Just put them in a nursing home and go about their business. You know, I know different women that work in those type of facilities that have to build relationships with these old people in their last days. And all they ask about is the children and the grandchildren. And the children and grandchildren out here living the best lives. Mentally poor. Not really appreciating or respecting who brought them into this world. Here it is. This is the matriarch. If it weren't for this person, she could have easily went and used a coat hanger.
Yeah.
Her granddaddy easily could have skied on the sheets. But he didn't. And you here. The least you can do is acknowledge that they are still here when they are here. But if you're mentally poor and you just out here trying to get it, you're just trying to chase this American dream or this I'm gonna say material mindset of being wealthy or poor, then you can have all the money in the world and still be mentally poor.
Yeah. So it has nothing to do. A lot of times has nothing to do with our financial. Has nothing to do with financial at all. But a lot of times that's what people give. When you say something about poor, the first thing they think about is money. Oh man, you ain't got no money. Oh my God, man. What? Hold on. Can a poor person, financially poor person, be absolutely rich? Can a financially poor person be absolutely rich in other areas or aspects of their life? Leonard, what do you say to that, brother?
I guess, you know, some people are, as they express themselves, they are. So it's you know, poor, of course, is related to, you know, not having enough sufficient money. But poor is also something that's, inferior,
Mm-hmm.
low standard.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
quality or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like poor quality of anything. It's less than
Mm-hmm.
a better way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially when a better way is observable.
Mm-hmm.
So, like a lot of times, people talk about poor this and poor that, whatever, poor sometimes is real personal. I don't know if people would have considered us poor, but we didn't want nothing you had.
Mm-hmm.
We had what we needed. It's better than walking around acting like you less than somebody else. It's all about, your personal perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know some of the best people I know, they didn't have as much money as some of all y'all got,
Mm-hmm.
but they're the best people I know. They the best when they ain't got no money and when they got a pocket full of money.
Yeah. And they don't change.
They don't change
Mm-hmm.
because, it's not about how much you have. You got people that look like they had everything, but still coming back to the hood to hang out with us.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it just depends on a person's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you say you poor, then you poor.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's how you choose to live your life, then absolutely.
That's how you choose to believe.
Yeah.
You don't want nothing else or what have you. Hey, it's your deal.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Badger, what do you say to that? Is being poor a reality, or is it a mindset?
I'd say both.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only like it's gonna depend on each individual.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like I'm concerned, if I had just a wee bit extra just to make sure, my wife had access to certain things, we're simple people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need a lot. We don't ask. However, society definitely makes it hard, and not everyone has the capability, or let me rephrase that. Some people struggle in different ways, and this isn't giving an excuse or anything, it's just a fact. Not everyone's meant to be out there in social settings. Not everyone is meant to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole it's materials. I've told me Leonard knows my view of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I have a huge issue with it
Mm-hmm.
because to me, I wish I owned 10 acres of land, but unfortunately, however, I know what would happen if I did. I'd be so focused on having a garden for the community and not charging anything for it. I mean, if someone takes advantage, that's on them, not on me.
Mm-hmm.
However, it tick off the people around because they're wanting to make money off of it, and I'm more focused on helping the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my riches are, is knowing it helps someone, because I know what it feels like not to have help,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
That's
have
good.
people turn your back on you. So the question you're asking is depth. I want to be respectful of my ancestors and the teachings that have been passed down to me, that's been around for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did Jesus ask for any money from anybody?
Mm. Wow. That's good.
I don't
That's
think.
good.
I mean, as far as I know, no.
Mm-hmm.
However, if someone felt guided to gift him, he would accept it.
Mm.
So in this life, we have to choose a mind. I would hope, or at least this is the way I was taught, is we have to choose what kind of mindset we want, and then we have to live it, not just
Mm-hmm.
preach it. you live it, you walk it. If you want to be thankful, you manifest it. If you want to be rich in love and light, you walk it. Materials come and go. You can lose materials faster than anything. You can even lose your loved ones in a blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So
That's good.
what's more important, that dollar bill or the ones that show you love and compassion?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's good. Love and compassion. I would say all day long. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart? We're talking about, is being poor a reality? Or Mr. Hicks, is it a mindset?
I think mindsets your mindset create your reality.
Mm.
That's the ability we have, imagination and to apply ourselves. I sort of see that as saying to people in general, no matter what the economic system is, and that whole thing about equality, equity,
Mm-hmm.
about equity, everybody and even Steven. They got a thing they call it. I think they call it the Pareto decision, and what it says that if you had a group of people in a room, you gave them all equal amounts of money in a short matter of time, the money would end up in a few hands.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I remember when I just watched piglets being born on my grandfather's farm, and he would sit there and he'd watch the little piglets, and he would say to me, he said, and he watched the pigs, he said, that pig right there, it's not too bright.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that one got to watch out for that. He said, watch, and he tell me like things. See how smart he is. I think what it's saying is that we as individuals are born with different mental gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and it's saying that someone is always going to come up lacking. That means whether it's a trauma that damaged them in their childhood, or whether it's they're born with somebody in the family that got some kind of disease that puts the family in a hamstring. I think it's pointing out the fact that we are all responsible for the poor. You all, if you rightly viewing things, there was a part in the scriptures that Jesus was walking with his disciples through a cornfield,
Mm-hmm.
and they would leave a certain number of corns on the field for the poor.
Yeah.
The whole thing, going back to the Israelites, the whole indication was that God brought judgment on the Israelite nation, because of their treatment of the poor and the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
All of society, everyone have an obligation. It's like all those people homeless all over the streets, all over the place, and we think it's the government's obligation to solve that problem. That's a problem of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to solve it, saying really we all are responsible for that. Every human being.
Yeah. Now, what do you say to the people that say, man, I ain't responsible for them? Man, I had to go out here, I had to pinch, scratch, and grind and claw and get where I am today, man. I ain't do all this just to be able to have to come back and give it to you. Why would I give it to you? You don't know the path I had to take to get here.
Yeah. As they live their life, and I believe just in every man's lifetime, he will come to a place where he'll understand. I remember my mother-in-law was staying with me, and she was dying from emphysema, and I couldn't understand that she would have oxygen tape, and she would take the oxygen and she put the oxygen down, then she would smoke a cigarette.
Mm.
I looked at it. I used to tell my wife too. I just couldn't understand it. Mm-hmm. Years later now, I go through my trials. I get caught up in smoking cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm going to stop this thing. I stopped it before. I can do it before. I get a cold. I get pneumonia. In the hospital, this is when it came to me. In the hospital, when one of my only stays in the hospital, I'm sneaking out of my room to go out in the hall to smoke a cigarette. And I'm coughing as I smoke it. And when I was puffing that thing, in my mind came clear. It's like, this is what it's like.
Mm.
It sort of tempered me all the time to not judge. You said that. I do believe with the same measure you judge is going to come back at you some kind of way, and whether you recognize, you can say, this is I brought this to my doorstep. I judge somebody about the same thing. It's almost like when you're judging somebody hard about something in their life, it's really pointing out something that's inside of you. That's why you notice it. That's why you react to it. It's showing yourself.
Yeah.
I think that Leonard said that I do believe that you put out good things, you can expect good things back. That's just it's that simple.
Be able to digest what you're feeding, basically. Be able to, if you can't feed it, if you can't digest it, don't feed it to nobody else. Because you might find yourself at that very table eating it as well.
I like that.
Yes,
like
sir.
that.
Yes, sir. And that's absolutely true. Absolutely.
Let
me go to Zamar. Zamar, what's on your heart? Sis, talk to me. Are people poor? Is being poor a reality, or is it a mindset?
I think it, like everyone's saying, I think it's both. You know, and I've told you about mine and my husband's situation where we didn't have a lot. There were times where we really just did not have a lot. And so financially, yeah, we were poor. But spiritually and, you know, emotionally, all of that stuff, right? That just having that family, that togetherness between each other and those around us that we love, we were very rich, and we still are very rich with that.
Yeah.
So we were happy, right? We were poor, but we were happy, and we still are happy. I don't want to say we're as if we aren't now. We are now.
Yeah.
But you know, that doesn't mean that there wasn't stressful times. Doesn't mean that there weren't times where we just didn't feel like it felt like the cards were stacked against us, right? But we never, I don't think we ever really dwelled on it too much. So, you know, I think if you stay happy and you're just happy overall, if you have a better outlook on life, that over there doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Rico, growing up, my grandmother raised me, and a person outside looking in would say that we were poor, man. They would probably say that we was poor because it was like check to check. You know, we had food on the table and different things like that. But you know, some people looking in, man, the haves would have said that we were poor. But I never knew it, man. When I was with my grandmother, I never knew it. It never existed to me. It wasn't a reality to me. So I say all that to say this: can a person that's quote unquote financially poor not even know that they're poor because they're happy in so many other ways?
I mean, well, they might have the gift to be able to understand the difference between the two and which one is more important. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood, man. You know, my mom and my stepdad moved into the neighborhood in 1978. Down here in Alabama, we were the first black people in this neighborhood. And we caught the blues.
Yeah.
That was from the people that didn't want us there. But on top of that, I had a dysfunctional stepfather who had grown up traumatized and felt like, you know what I'm saying, success and love was built off of money. He believed in an American dream because that's what drove and motivated him. Without that, he would have been just the average person that he despised in his neighborhood that he grew up with. So he had ambition, but he lacked that mental wealth. And so he put us in a big, nice home. You know, it was a little dysfunctional. You know, he gave my little brother a lot more than he gave me. You know, so I made straight A's and, you know, still had to go back and forth because I was the stepchild. Put an in-ground pool. Can you imagine, in the 8th grade, 1980s, you know what I'm saying? You're a young black man in Alabama, you got an in-ground pool in your backyard and a half of a basketball court, slab and everything marked off. I mean, they got it good out there, still got it. But I ended up living with my grandmother. Now, don't get me wrong, I love those material things, man. It felt so good to have that nice central air and heating in 1978.
Yeah.
When other people had plastic around their windows and the winds were secret. All the people I went to school with, man, they was in trouble. It was only a few of them that understood a comfortable living. But they didn't have to see the mama with a gun on her head the night before.
Wow.
They didn't have to get beat or go through some of the stuff that I went through. But see, when I got to my grandmama's house, man, even though it might have been a little colder, the heart that she had made up for it and made everything much warmer. So I started choosing to not only want to go to Hobson City, that's where it was, down to my grandmama's house in the summertime and on the weekends and as much as possible, because of that love that I got. It superseded all of the material things, the four-wheelers we had, all of those things, the trampolines we had. Everybody marveled at our home, and it's still my grandmother's neighborhood superseded all of that. Just the community itself.
Yes.
Being able to go from neighbor to neighbor and feel welcome instead of having people throw rocks through your window because they don't want you in the neighborhood. But it was a nice, comfortable home. And sometimes I could get up in the morning, man, and I could pour a box of cereal, and a roach would come out there and joke on.
Yeah.
Grandmama made sure she got rid of them roaches, though. But that still didn't make me want to say, oh, don't go back to my mama's house. I want to go live with my daddy. No, I want to stay with my grandmama.
Yep.
Because she gave me something that neither one of them gave me, that a child needed from their parents. She was the substitute. So that wealth that she gave me, that wealth of love and that wealth of understanding, that wealth of attention, the wealth of quality time to sit me down and just to teach me the basic tools and understanding and problem solving and conflict resolution and morals and integrity and respect. All of those things she taught me, man, it superseded every motorcycle or four-wheeler or swimming diving board I jumped off of at my mom's house.
Yeah. That's good. And so
I knew the difference. I knew the difference. You know, I understood the value that to a certain extent, I did have choices later on in life. You know, I could have went back out there, but I still chose to be with my grandma because I knew what was best for me as far as people, you know, really caring about me. But this is how aware of it that I was. In this neighborhood that I went in, that I went to where my grandmother lived, they even tried to have a pecking order. So in that neighborhood, my family was looked at as very smart, but might not have been the most affluent. They, you know, they looked down on certain people in black communities. You know how that goes. Yeah. And so with that being said, a lot of people looked at me sideways. They felt like I was somebody that was just a throwaway. We'll never see your daddy come around. We'll never see your mama come around. Your grandmama can't move around the way she needs to. You just out here by yourself. You just out here, ain't you? So I know people looked at it that way. Some of my friends and this and that, they sort of wanted to try to make me feel like I was at the bottom of the totem pole, but I knew better. I did better. I achieved and accomplished regardless of what they felt, because I knew they were basing that off of financial. But I was like, man, y'all ain't got nothing. I'm sitting there looking at what they living like, and I'm like, really and truly, I should be the one acting uppity. So what I did, right before we graduated, we had baccalaureate practice, and we left school early. And I decided to be kind, and I invited everybody out to my home to go swimming, but I didn't tell them it was my home. I told them it was just somebody's house that I knew that we would go swimming in. And you should have seen the look on their faces when they walked to that house and seen my pictures up on that wall.
Wow.
What's your picture doing up on the wall? Hold it, this is my house. Oh, y'all try to judge me based off of material things and superficial things, and some of y'all really wasn't my friend the way you should have been because y'all felt like y'all was uppity. Now you see you missed out. Now you want to have a pool party. Now you want to call me every day. Come on, can we come out your house and go swimming? No.
Because
they thought I was poor. They thought, you know how Cinderella went?
Exactly.
They thought I was that. And so I recognized that I intentionally kept people away from my mom and my stepdad lifestyle because I knew that we had people that judged you for that too. And I didn't want no friends I didn't want to earn no friends that wanted me for what my mom and them had.
Exactly. Ryan, what's on your heart, brother? This is a lot that we're dealing with, man. This is a lot that we're dealing with today, brother. Talk to me. And there's
just taking it all in, kind of process when Rico was talking about, and you know, it's kind of the same, right? For me, just a different perspective growing up here in the city, and being basically the only white guy for many, many miles.
Wow.
And, everybody looking at me like, what you doing around here?
Mm-hmm.
Expecting just because I'm white, I'm not supposed to be there,
Mm-hmm.
but white folks poor too. Don't let it be food.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People talk about white privilege. I never had that. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was constant struggle, right? Walking to school every day, having to look both ways, trying to avoid some sort of confrontation with somebody just because the way I look, you know, and uh, and then having to deal with, like Rico was saying, oh, you ain't got no mama, you ain't got no daddy. Well, mine was, oh, your mama white, your stepdad black.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel at home? You know, never, not really having a space to fit in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, growing up where I grew up at, it wasn't the South, right? But it was for real. And it's like, roaches and rats running the streets. Every other
Mm-hmm.
house got, on the front of the house is a big old billboard say being watched for crack, you know,
Wow.
and I definitely, like I said earlier, I could have fallen into that mindset of I'm broke, busted, and disgusted,
Mm-hmm.
and but I got two sides because I could go to my grandparents' house, and much like Rico, they had the in-ground pool, they had money,
Mm-hmm.
they had that lifestyle because my grandfather worked his tail off, and
Mm-hmm.
so I could go out there and be afforded a little more luxuries. Um, but that came with its consequences too, because when I was in school in the city, it was always a fist fight there because everybody wanted to test the white boy.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go out to the suburbs, and then all of a sudden, I'm being called the N word by the white kids in the suburbs because of where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's crazy. It's crazy these mindsets that people get put into, not only financially, but just status based. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, so then I end up having to fight, my own people, as somebody would say. You know what I mean? So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I can truly sit here in front of y'all and tell you I'm blessed to be colorblind. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, that stuff doesn't affect me. But my stepdad was, if I were to follow his example, I'll just say it that way, I'd still probably be locked up in prison today.
Wow.
If I'd have stayed running with my biker friends, I'd
Mm-hmm.
have been locked up in prison, running
Mm-hmm.
drugs or whatever. I've probably taken somebody's life by now.
Mm-hmm.
My stepdad, he went to prison 3 times before I even left middle school,
Good Lord.
and he wasn't some hardened criminal, but he was dumb. He let that
Mm-hmm.
mindset affect him to where he's living in the city of Detroit. He's a black man. He's coming up hard. He's got to make those ends meet, but he didn't make those ends meet for the family. Selfishness. He made it
Mm-hmm.
his ends meet for himself,
Wow.
breaking into people's houses and stealing stuff.
Mm.
And you know, of course, it's an arguable statement, but prison is made to reform you, to stop you from doing those things. And this is a guy who went to prison, and instead of taking that time like a lot of brothers do, is sitting down and educating themselves and learning something about why they are where they are, he took it to a different level and was boxing in prison. And then
Mm-hmm.
he would come home, and I was his punching bag, and my
Wow.
mama was his punching bag. He got
Mm.
his in the end, though. I'll tell you that.
Mm. Wow. Wow. That's and it's so many different levels on this whole thing, man. There's so many different levels on this thing that I hate to say it like this, man, but sometimes the quote unquote average person would not understand.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's this. I say all that, and I'm not using the words on the screen, right?
Yeah.
Reality or mindset, but every person that's on this call right now, and more than likely most people that's dialing in and just listening, sitting back, all of those things I just said are a mindset, and
Mhm.
those circumstances put you into a mode where you have to make that decision,
Mhm.
and that was my reality.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, and that's where it goes to. We all have to find a place. We all have to find a place where we set our own reality or walk in our own reality. We can't let nobody pave our path for us because we have our own journey that we have to take. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Let me see. We just lost somebody, but hopefully they'll call back in. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Just listening. Like I said, you have to think other people have different lives, different
Yeah.
types of lives. They grow in different places.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like one, like I, down here doing what I do and listen to different stories, especially when it comes to trying to make a difference in the community. You have to take these things into consideration. And like I say, when some people talk about the difference between living here and living there, I don't know nothing different. I was raised right across the street from white folks. White folks stayed next to them.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Annie stayed over on the corner. We was mixed neighborhood, pretty much black and white. But what we all had in common was we respected one another.
Mm-hmm.
Folks took into consideration. Most of the people all came there for one purpose: to work.
Mm-hmm.
Most people lived there because of what they had in common. They worked at the plant. That's what people did. And back then, whatever went on in people's houses was their business. But then when you came outside and you went to other people's houses, you learned different things.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody didn't have a dad that was there and present. Some people's parents may have had an illness or something. But one thing we always remember is how you treat other people. It's not how people treat you. You got to treat other people well first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the biggest thing. And one, people, I used to joke with people like, well, what about your peers? I don't have any.
Mm.
What do you mean peers? People you expect me to act like? People you expect me to little box you weren't planning to put me in?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get out like that. And if you did so, it was your own fault. Like birds of a feather flock together. Oh, mama, these girls, that girl that's, I'm going to hang out with my friends. Now all your friends pregnant, and guess what? You're pregnant next.
Mm. Wow.
Everybody, it's going to be hanging together. Now y'all a gang, and now half of y'all don't spend the majority of your lives behind bars.
Mm-hmm.
And also, one thing I remember, being ignorant was not a value.
No.
Being stupid was not a value.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing was not cool.
Mm-hmm.
My parents hated ignorance more than anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why it was all about, if you could get an education, you could go anywhere. If you was intelligent enough to think for yourself and choose for yourself, you could do anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is that lacking in this day and time? Is that lacking more than it was back in the day, Leonard?
I think most definitely, because we teach kids to take the same excuses we used.
Mm. Mm.
Get satisfied with an excuse on not achieving more and not doing more and not being more and blaming everybody else for your mistakes.
Watch
You know
this.
how many
Watch
kids
this.
you count tell you one side of the story?
Are these kids today, Leonard? These younger kids, the younger teenagers today, are they lazy, man?
Yeah, a lot of them are. A lot of them are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
Wow.
and it takes a lot to try to motivate people. But there are some people that it take a lot longer. Like I said, the one thing about the truth, it'll be here when you get back.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
When
Exactly.
you decide to accept the truth of the matter,
Mm-hmm.
you'll start doing better.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
good.
walking around here talking about the way you is because somebody has treated you or what happened to you when you was young was not a way to get ahead. It's not a way to get forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's great to be able to look at a thing and say, you know what, I'm not going to be that.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Hey,
50.
Raheem, before you go forward.
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, go ahead, do what you do.
Five.
Before you go forward, man, I think that was big what he said, man. You know, I was thinking about how I sort of lost my train of thought for a second though when you went in that direction. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me just, I'm gonna give them more right back to you. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We're talking about our topic of discussion right now is being poor a reality or a mindset? Go ahead, Rico. Badger, coming to you next.
I know what it was. You know, you asked, are these teenagers lazy?
Yes.
Well, they got it from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't just the teenagers. I mean, society is lazy, man. I mean, you know, we talk about all the time how people like to take the quick way.
Yeah.
Everybody want the easy way, you know what I'm saying? They want to Google everything. Ain't nobody going to do no encyclopedia. Don't nobody like to crawl before they walk.
Mm-hmm.
They want it quick, fast, in a hurry. I mean, so that does make people lazy because, you know, if you could get quick, fast money, you know what I'm saying, then why are you going to work hard?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that mindset, it is this, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't want to just put it on teenagers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I could put it up and down the line of people that are just mentally lazy. Based off the choices they make, they're mentally poor. You know, some of these choices are confusing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Ryan was saying that about his stepfather going to prison and learning to box and coming home doing it to them, you know, I know a lot of people go to prison and pick up more game and then come out and they sound stupid, but they want you. If you listen to them, they think they don't learn something.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a standard. So you ask yourself, wait a minute, man, why that makes sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Why these little things make sense to you? Why how can you justify this making sense? Like Leonard said a second ago, ignorance ain't cool.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
right about now, you hear a lot of people say that it's cool to be ignorant, and you see the ignorant things they do, and then when they continue to fail and go through the things they're going through, they don't want to accept the responsibility behind the fact that there's some reason why they made stupid choices.
Mm-hmm.
The mentally poor. And you know, I think about that because in our community, we talk about now, all we talk about is financial literacy and financial wealth. That's all. We need to uplift each other. But based off the story what I told with my stepfather, you can be financially literate, you could be mentally wealthy. I mean, you could be financially wealthy, but you could be mentally poor to the point where you're damaging more people.
Mm-hmm.
And what good is that for you to be financially wealthy, but to be what kind of sense does it make to be financially wealthy, but to be mentally poor?
Yeah.
I mean, I think to a certain extent, it's a lose-lose situation if you are mentally poor but financially wealthy.
And you know what they say, a fool and his money will soon depart. A fool and his money will soon depart. They ain't gonna be together long because somebody gonna come along and do whatever they can do to get that money out you. And that's taking it back right there. They're gonna get that money up out you. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I was sitting here listening, you know, I was sitting here thinking about all of the labels that are pushed onto us every day.
Mm-hmm.
About what being poor is, what certain mental struggles are, like mental disabilities and different things of that nature, the things that go on in our communities and stuff, the things that younger people are struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
And younger people are having to deal with more stress than we have when we were young, when we were kids. They have social media. The school system doesn't really teach critical thinking anymore. History is in a tailspin. Nobody knows which way is up, down, left, or right. The economy's all jacked up. People that were middle class are now struggling, knowing what it's, and they're starting to understand the struggle of people that are less fortunate with money. Like there's a lot of things that are happening And it's one of those things of who are we going to be in that moment, that
Mhm.
mindset. Are we, you know, the stereotype I get or my son gets because of the ignorance of understanding of our mental struggles. And then you add in the emotional ignorance of most of American society. And people that throw these words around, you're being lazy and all these other things, how messed up is that to throw that label onto somebody, to assume that they are lazy and not doing their best just because they don't have as much income? Maybe they are doing their best and that's all they know. So there's a lot to this to me with a poor mindset and things like that. Some people have a poor mindset because nothing else was introduced to them. There's people out here, like, I've had to undo, and I'll be transparent about myself because y'all have heard me say being on this show is hard for me, right?
Mhm.
But I've never said why. I grew up with having to undo a mindset of being told I was a robot. I had no emotions because I didn't know how to show them correctly. That I was less than because I didn't know how to talk or write English. Because I can't write a paper because I don't understand grammar. Because my brain doesn't process it right. I was not worth the breath I breathed because I couldn't do something the way people wanted me to.
What was your outlet?
My outlet
Yes.
was spirit because no human being gave a damn about me
Hey.
until I met my wife.
Mhm.
Every person I came across said, "Oh, it's just excuses. You just got to push harder. Don't show no emotions. Don't do this. You're a man. You got to da 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 da." All this bloody nonsense. But not once did a human being actually sit down with me and help me understand that the reason I'm the way that I am is I was blessed with being Asperger's. I
Mhm.
see the world differently. I see things in a logical manner. That means a lot of times when it comes to emotional things, I don't process them the same way other people do.
Mhm. Okay.
Being
Okay.
poor to me, yes, we are struggling. We are struggling because of the economy. However, we still do our best. We hold our heads up high and keep walking forward and do the best we can every day and give thanks to Great Spirit for everything that we have and everything that's
Exactly.
coming, no
That's
matter
good.
what it is. So, even though I have horrible self worth issues because of all of the toxicity I received, I'm not who those people said I was.
Mhm.
I'm a human being with a gigantic heart that does a ton of research, that spent 20 years studying spirituality and what it is to be a spirit
Mhm.
in a human body, to learn how to connect to other things, to connect to other people. I'm
Good
not this
deal.
rage inducing, dumb, idiotic, autistic human being that the stereotype is. Just like no black person is automatically aggressive or going to go shoot up or rob a house, or some drunk redneck is doing the things that they're doing out there, and so on as the labels go on. They're
Mhm.
labels. Who
Good deal.
are you in
Absolutely.
this moment?
Absolutely. Good deal. Good deal. Let's keep this thing going. We got a few people on the phone line. I want to go to Shanavia. Shanavia, good morning. How you doing this morning? That was good,
Good
Badger.
morning, y'all. I'm good. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Badger just put a lot out there, man. I really appreciate that, brother. We talking about
Mm.
what our topic is this morning is being poor. Is being poor a reality or is it a mindset?
Well, I definitely think it's a combination of both. Um, and I kind of it reminds me of a conversation that we had like it's been a hot little minute ago, but I see people every day that are putting their best foot forward, that from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep, that are living in tents, that they are walking miles and miles a day to go to job interviews, to go to a library, to be able to put in applications, to be able, they just fell on hard times. But it's not for lack of trying that they are not trying to get themselves out. However, I do like what everyone has said before me since being gone. I think I came in at the end of Miss Elena and then Rico, and then of course Badger just came on. But the mindset comes in as well, is because if you have always been in an environment, and this is what Papa and them did, this is what Grandma and them did, this is what Auntie and them did, and so therefore it's almost expected to assume that this is what you're supposed to do as well. And it's not until someone comes and shows you something differently to where you don't have to follow that traditional pattern. You don't have to follow that. There's a world outside of the circle and the community that you live in that you can go and explore, and that you can break this generational chain. But we have so many people that are 40, 50, and 60 years in to generational curses to where that's all they know. And anything that looks different from that, you must think that you're better. And so now you're beating down on me because I'm trying to change something different for not just my lineage, not just for where I am right now, but for the lineage that will come after me. So it's a combination of both. I don't think that we could just put it just on the mindset or just on, the circumstances around us. It's both.
Wow. What's element of that particular question? Is it a reality or a mindset? Which is running more rampant right now in today's day and time with our young people?
That's a good question. And I'm gonna try to be careful and not try to be very transparent and honest, but try not to be so biased with it. With our young people, I have to say I'm leaning more towards the mindset. And the reason why I say that it is the mindset, because most of our younger generation are coming from, like Rico said, they had to learn it from somewhere. And to challenge it, and on top of the fact, we have to look at the society that's around us. If you're not getting money from TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, then for this generation, it's just like, okay, well, what else is out there? I want to be an influencer. And if I'm not becoming an influencer, which is very, that's very in right now. That's almost the number one job that you would hear kids now talking about becoming. Not, it used to be, I want to be a basketball player, I want to be a football player, I want to be a doctor, I want to be some of those things. We're now in the generation to where becoming an influencer and sitting on podcasts and sitting in front of your camera is a job now. So if I can't do that, I just sit and talk to people every day. So why can't I get paid for it? And if I'm not going to get paid for that, then I don't know what I want to do. I'm not going to do anything. So I think right now we're in the place of a mindset, because it is, we live in a microwave society. And we want what we want it how we want it.
Exactly. That's good. Joseph, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, family.
Hey,
how you doing, sir?
Hey, doing good. We're asking a question, brother, and I want to hear your heart on this. Is being poor a reality, or is it a mindset?
Well, I guess it can be a mindset sometimes if you internalize what people say about you, or how you perceive yourself to be in terms of society. When I was little, I know I was poor, but I was surrounded by love, and we just kept busy doing things, playing games and stuff. And then, in Easter time came around, we got these nice clothes, man, and shoot, we know how to appreciate nice clothes when we got them, And of course, our mother told us that we wear a certain set of clothes for church, a certain set of clothes for playing. So that became the routine for us, you know. And then when we got old enough to realize that if you go out and work, you could earn some money, you know, we started cutting grass. And, well, I went to the field to chop cotton for $10 a day and made my own money, man. There was a good feeling attached to that. You know, I thought I was a man when I came in the house, you know. I was like, hey, you know, I got my own money.
Yeah.
So I guess you can internalize those things. You know, I look on TV and saw people with nice things or whatever, but I appreciated the things that I worked for and got for myself. And that was a good feeling for me all my life.
Wow.
You know, I remember one time I was ashamed because the house that we were renting had a leak in the roof and the water would drip in the living room. And we had to put pots on the floor to catch, you know, the water.
Yeah.
And I never forget, I was somewhat, you know, getting a little older and meeting these little girlfriends, and I wouldn't bring them to my house. So I moved in with my aunt because she had a nice house, nice clean house. And that was one time when I felt the sting of poverty. But even in that, it made me determined that when I got older, I was going to have me a nice house. So I bought 3 of them. And then I passed the knowledge on to my daughter and my grandchildren. So I showed them the importance of owning your own house and how to use it. I like what you just said, man. What a fool in his money would be, how you put it?
A fool in the money will soon depart.
Will soon depart.
Yeah.
I gotta keep that one, bro. But I learned in my poverty, I learned how to respect wealth, how to get it. So I can't really say I was poor. I really think I was rich because of my experience. It made me rich. I mean, and then I know how to treat people. I know how to respect people who don't have. You know, and I think with our kids today, I think, was it Rico or Leonard? Somebody said that we adults are lazy, you know, in terms of getting out there and working with the boys club and, you know, working with the Boy Scout. Huh?
I think those are Rico.
Who said that?
Rico.
You know, yeah. If we would invest in our community and make things available for our youth, we will help them to get on that path to learning to appreciate life and appreciate the gifts that they have, and teach them to be industrious.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't think in other words, I cannot blame the children when I've been here all these years.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. Let me go to Zamari. Zamari, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good deal. Are there certain traps? Are there certain traps in our society that is set to keep people poor?
Traps
Yes.
keep people poor.
Yes.
My husband's saying, yeah. I mean, I suppose there is. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know on what scale. I really don't know how to answer that, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay.
Because your mind can be a trap. You know, your circumstance in general could be a trap. Maybe you don't have money for a car, and you don't have money for an Uber, or you're in a situation where there is no Uber. There is no taxi. There is nobody to help you. That's a trap. You're stuck. So, you know, but beyond that, I really don't know how else to answer that, Raheen. I'm sorry.
No. It's all you're honest. That's all I suppose on your heart, and you're honest, and I definitely appreciate that. Mr. Hicks, what do you say to that? Do you think there's certain traps in this society that keep people poor?
For sure. My people destroy for a lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have an understanding, never have, of how economics work and how the trap is set.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that we would get somewhere along the line, college or high school, we get some kind of economic knowledge about credit,
Mm-hmm.
about the importance of credit, and about understanding how the banking system works. And sometimes putting your money in a bank is not the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
No, I think we're on the subject. I think we're in a little space now with technology and the internet and blockchain and bitcoins, where there's a unified struggle to recoup our system of printing money.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we have a deficit basically is because we print money. And
Mm-hmm.
no president wanted the system to fall on their watch, so they just increased the budget, they increased the ceiling, but it's
Mm-hmm.
going to fall. And I think that right now, I think it'd be a good time for folks to really put some thought in checking out what's happening with the Bitcoin, what's happening with the
Mm-hmm.
blockchain, what's happening on that level, and take advantage of some of the things. I found, poverty, and I think I always looked at it. When I didn't have money, I was broke, and when I don't have faith, I'm in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was I don't know who is one of those writer there that's put that down, and it hit me. He said being broke is one thing, and being poor is a mind state. I'm reading a book now, Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Mm-hmm.
and a millionaire mindset.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it lays down the way poor people think versus how rich people think. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a real contrast. It's a real contrast in knowing that we have been indoctrinated by our environment, by the people around. If you lived in a family that had a poverty cons, I mean, you ask something and say, well, you can, and I think that most of us, I listened to Ryan talking, and I saw that a long time ago. It really was enlightening for me because my mother, we raised a little white kid with us.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go out in the playground in Newark, to go playground and protect him and watch for him and recognize dealing with that family that everyone got a story. Every human being that ever come on the planet got a story, and the story laced with struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it. You think because they're born with a silver spoon that they don't have, but there's certain things that we have human beings that's all similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a need to reprogram yourself. We've been programmed. We're programmed by the programs on television, by the people around us telling you, my mom just say, just like your daddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like your daddy. You're gonna be nothing like your daddy. And I understand the frustration of having a man that's not standing up to the plate and doing what he had to do, and the frustration and emotion of a woman. But when she say these things, it's just putting something inside the children. Put something inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And, but everybody got a story. When you look at them, you don't know they got a story, but you can look at it and notice here. You felt the same pains that I had in some kind of way. And even though you smiling, even though you being mean to me like that, you're a human being that was wounded and hurt. And it tempers how you look at them.
Mm-hmm.
So if it tempers how you look at it, tempers how you think about them. You start seeing them not through your human eyes, or you start seeing them like you think God would look at them. He loves them.
Exactly. Exactly. Good deal. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Ryan, is this whole system that we have now, the job system, if you will, trading your time for money, will they ever truly pay you for the amount of time that you give? Because time is invaluable. You really can't put a price tag on time. So are we getting juked with this system?
Oh yeah, we getting juked. I mean, I make a pretty honest wage where I'm at, and I have no reason to complain. But I tell you what, after this conversation, I'm finna start me a OnlyFans.
Oh Lord.
I'm put my feet up on the camera and make millions. My wife in there tripping now. But yeah, I mean, it's that simple, right? These people out here, they don't really, especially younger generation, understand what it's like to work for a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we've talked about this before on the broadcast. I got these guys coming in and trying to act all hard and tough and buff, and they're gonna come in here and run my show, and then they work for a few hours and they quit because it's too
Mm-hmm.
hard for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they want to go to the house like I can't remember who it was that said they out here looking for a platform, and so they want to go to the crib and could be anywhere from 18 to 60. I didn't seen it as high as 65. People starting up these OnlyFans accounts and going out there showing their goods. And at first they ain't showing their face, they're just showing the body.
Mm-hmm.
But then they read, and oh, if you show your face, your income's gonna quadruple. So they do it, and they end up making. I think this one teacher in 3 years, she made like $1.5 million just
Good
for
Lord.
showing her flesh on the screen.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, and of course it gets you thinking, why am I out here busting my rear? I go out there and put my beard on the camera and maybe make a few dollars,
Hey,
Um,
there's an auction going on right now for your beard, man. You might want to read the chat. There's
They
an
know
auction.
me, man.
You might want to read
oh,
the
man.
chat.
My wife trying to claim my beard. She get
Exactly.
mad when I cut it off.
Mm.
Sometimes it be too hot. Anyway,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, that's crazy talk, man. It just selling flesh, and people wonder why we are in the state that we are.
And we had a
These-
conversation talking about the moral compass a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week. And you got people doing things like this, man, and you wonder what's going on with the morality of the society in which we're living in. Man,
yes,
it's
sir.
crazy. It's crazy. It is
And,
crazy.
and I think it's a mindset that people have adapted to.
Mm-hmm.
You can get on Twitch, and you can play your video games, and people will log in and watch you play video games. Never
Yeah.
in my life
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I think that somebody was going to sit around and watch somebody play video games. Why not go
Mhm.
play the daggone game yourself?
Exactly.
But you got all these platforms: Twitter, Twitch, Facebook Live, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans. Like, there's all of these things out there, and it's a trap. Like
Yep.
you were saying, it's a trap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trap to get you to stay home and be isolated in your home.
Mm-hmm.
And I could branch out
Dumb it
and
down.
go into all
Mm-hmm.
these different avenues, right? Putting the
Mm-hmm.
mask on your face, and oh, you can't go to work. You got to stay home. COVID's out there. It's a trap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trap. Yeah,
Are they
people
are,
lost their
are they
lives.
trying to dummy us down?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
have they dummied us down?
They have dummied us down. Look,
Mm.
I've said it before. I'm a huge fan of hip hop, and
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time listening to Tupac, and he predicted a lot of the things that we're seeing in the music industry today.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about this mumble rap many
Mm-hmm.
years ago,
Wow.
and I've read some things, and it may be too far out there. Somebody probably call it a conspiracy theory, but I've read things that talk about how they use music to dumb down the minds
Oh yeah.
of the
Oh yeah.
people that listen to it.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you watch the progressionary chain, you got that late 70s, early 80s hip hop, EPMD, KRS-One, Public Enemy, they all had a message. And then it progressed into gangster rap, where it turned into this violence culture. And now it's progressed into this mumble rap where you can't understand what the guy is saying. You barely speak in English, and it's all about sex, money, drugs, and women. And it's all there's no substance to it. And that, when you listen to those things, it messes with your mental game. It's a trap.
Exactly. Let me go. We're gonna circle all the way back, but I hadn't talked
Can
to
I
our
hop in real
Navy.
quick?
Yeah, give me
Please?
1 second. I'm coming right back to you. Let me go to Navy. Navy, what's on your heart, sis? Go on. How much time I have with you? Navy.
Just like 3 more minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm just kind of like sitting back, listening to the conversation because I can't even remember the question that you asked. Or
Is
after you got done with me.
is being poor a reality or a mindset?
Okay, you had asked another one. What was the other question that you asked?
Man, I've asked a lot of questions.
He don't forgot
Oh, okay.
himself. He asked you.
I'm the question asker. I just throw them out there. Go ahead, Rico.
I think because I remember for a second ago, and I done forgot that fast too.
See?
But
Hey Ryan, what's that question that he asked you?
Ryan just answered the question, so he might be able to remember a little bit better what it was you asked because it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, you talking about the last question I asked? I asked have we been, the part about being dummy down, or you talking about the one I asked?
Are we being dumbed down intentionally?
And I asked one before that where I asked Ryan. I said the money is changing time for money. I don't know which one she's talking about. Are we being juked in the way that we exchanging on the workforce? We're exchanging our time for money because you can never pay for time because time is invaluable. And so are we being juked on that? So I don't know which one you're talking about, but maybe whichever one you want, you could tackle.
Well, okay, I'll answer the Duke one. I don't know if I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a serious question. It's a serious answer, but it's also very much not it's not a realistic answer that I'm going to give because absolutely we're being duped for our time. Like, I would love to be able to come to work and make like $250,000 a minute. That would be great. But because I feel like that's how valuable my time is. I can't get this time back. You know, if I was to drop dead today, my position is going to be listed by the end of the week. Y'all may send me a card or a nice little arrangement to my retire for your cost. But aside from that, no, we're not being compensated for the time that we put in to these jobs, or even for for those of us that have side hustles or businesses on the side as well, we're still not being compensated for that. Why? Because we need money to live, and so we take what's offered, or either we negotiate that. So we're not being compensated for our time, not in a realistic manner, no.
Wow. And you want to say something about the other part as well?
I already forgot the question.
Lord. Let me go to Badger. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
The question that you asked about the money situation and stuff. I want to throw out some things that I didn't even know existed until my accident happened. They tell you when you apply for benefits and stuff that you are only allowed to have so much in a savings account, and you would have to lie if you want to save money by taking it out of your bank accounts and stuff and stashing it in your house. You're denied services depending on how many assets you have, of how much access you get to certain things, health insurance, SNAP benefits, anything. So there's that whole trap comment. It's wild when a person wants to save up to better their situation, and by doing so they can lose everything that they're getting. Like, that's a messed up thing to think about as far as a mindset goes. Like, what kind of mindset does that put on you? How much stress does that put on you? If you're doing your best to live right and to not lie and things of that nature, Yet to deal with the way the laws and systems are set up, you have to lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and we have all these businessmen out there, and it's that, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're lying on taxes. They're lying to us. They're doing whatever they can by any means necessary. And then talking about the YouTubers and Twitch streamers and things like that, there a lot of them that I've come across that actually have a pretty decent channel are messed up, and they're going to therapy and stuff like that because they've had to create this persona to make that income. They have to almost be a fake self where they have to portray being happy all the time or something because that's what their channel's all about, but they're messed up inside. A good example of that, Robin Williams. And
Wow.
I could just go on as far as that's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when it comes to mindset, you know, money isn't everything. And when you're having to sit back and actually observe and you get to know these people that are being, you know, called lazy or so on and so on, a lot of them don't have access to help.
Mm-hmm.
If you ain't got the money to pay for it, you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You are.
Yeah.
So and if your mental state makes it very hard or difficult for you to be able to make an income, you're treated even worse and you still don't get access.
Mm-hmm.
You have to fight for it nonstop. What motivation is that? Knowing that it could take you 5 years to get a therapist or to be able to see a doctor. Like, being poor comes with its own struggles. Being rich comes with its own struggles. What are you sacrificing to earn that money?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
What morals are you sacrificing? And then you throw in the kids and the younger generation that's coming up after that. They're seeing rich people screw everybody over. They see those that are less fortunate having the struggle getting any access to help. And then those that are in middle class that are, you know, doing decently well because they actually were able to purchase a home or own a home and things of that nature are just getting by every day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where at in our society as far as the class levels go is people truly benefiting?
Good deal. Good deal. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Zamar, you had something on your heart? Cassandra, coming to you next.
Yeah, Badger keeps talking about, you know, people being lazy and how that's misconstrued. You know, if there you see someone who's trying really hard, or you know, you're trying really hard and then you get called lazy. Well, nobody is going to call, in my experience anyway, no one is going to call somebody lazy when they see them putting in that work and that effort. You can tell the difference between someone who is struggling and putting in their all and someone who isn't putting in any work at all. That's the difference between those two categories. My husband has worked very, very hard. And even when he was working his hardest, we still were poor. We still didn't have anything hardly, right? You know, so there is a very, very large contrast between the two in my experience. So that's it.
Yeah, good. It's good to Cassandra. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we're talking about being poor. And is being poor a reality or is it a mindset? What do you say to that?
I believe it's both. It's both, because there are people that actually have a lack of the things that are needed, that are necessary for life. And then there are people that their mindset is woe is me, I don't
Mhm.
have anything and I'll never be able to get anything. Those are, two totally different things. I'll never be able to get anything. I'll never be able to achieve the American dream. I'll never be,
Mhm.
and that's a mindset, you know. But I get people that actually think like that because they see when they're trying to achieve things that our system is set up to make them fail.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to give an example. A friend of mine is trying to buy a house. She has 2 children that she adopted. She wants to leave a legacy, so she's been fighting to get a home for them. She found a home. She's put like every penny that she could muster up to get the home. They have added on fees and this and that, and
Wow.
every time she turns around, it's something different that they need her to add. Oh, well, we need you to put this, add this in, $3,500. I mean, just this week, they have asked her for an additional, the closers and all these different people, over $6,000 additional dollars
Good
on top
Lord.
of all of the money that she has already put
Mm.
into the house. It's ridiculous because you're setting her up. She's a single mom. You're setting her up to fail. And
Mhm.
she's doing everything she can. That's why, and I'm gonna say the word, so I'm gonna go to the corner with that. That's why it pisses me off when people talk about, oh, black people don't be trying that. They just lazy. They ain't trying to do nothing. They really ain't. I hate when people say stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Oh, we just lazy. They just a bunch of lazy people. They just want to be. Why? Even when we try to do better, we get kicked down every time through the system.
Wow.
So, it's a mindset and it's a reality.
Mhm. Wow. Wow. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Just listening and according to what the question you asked, I'm not into the trap thing or what have you. I just watch where I step. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because one, I know no one has my best interest at heart.
Wow.
I never go into a situation thinking you care that much about me to do me a favor.
Mm.
And it's that because one, when I need something, I go to God first. Just a little incident here recently where I had to get a plumber, right?
Mhm.
I called one plumbing company, talked to the guy before, oh, sure, we'll come out, blah, 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 check it out, diagnose it, let you know what it is, $100. Okay, no problem, set the appointment, boom. We'll call and confirm you before we come. Call and confirm before you come, all of a sudden now the price is different. How about you go to hell? I'll
Mm.
call someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't have to deal with that
Mhm.
because you could have been upfront with me from the beginning.
Yep.
And that's what I demand from everybody. I'll let you know first. If you come to the table with something other different when we discussed it, it's going to be a problem. I guarantee you.
Mhm.
The deal is off. It's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
You don't go to people that don't have your best interest at heart and think that they're going to do right by you because they're not.
Mhm.
No one's giving you things for free or anything like that. There's always going to be something attached. And it's best to know what it is up front. When people talk about, I don't get paid enough, you ain't going to never get paid enough
Mhm.
because you're going to always think you want more. But when you sit down at the table and say, I will work for this, that is your contract
Mhm.
because that's what you said you would do. If you want more, you have to have a plan to get more.
Mhm.
Because no one like you. There are people who actually think that people go into business to help other people. No, they don't. They go into business for profit.
Mhm.
If you go in with that mindset, you're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
It's all about negotiation, putting things up front, and being aware of the information. It's when people start hiding things. One of the quickest ways to make to really rile me up is to do that. If you tell me I need 200, we come in, well, we need 350. Well, I'm going to take it out of your tail because you didn't tell me that before.
Mhm.
So you better find that extra money.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's real difficult to deal with that. But that is how this world is. Don't expect the devil to do you right because he's never going to do you right. and the deal is never going to be in your favor.
Exactly.
So it's best that things up front and honest, and you know what you're getting to ahead of time instead of feeling like somebody trapping you or somebody doing it. Ain't no trap if you volunteer. What kind of trap is that? It's no, you know, like I said, for instance, you complain about slavery, but then you volunteer for the system. What do you think the system is about?
And I got this T-shirt, Leonard. I think you saw it. The T-shirt that I have, it says, "Don't live with the devil and expect Jesus to pay the rent." It don't work that way.
Don't do it.
It
don't do it.
It
don't
don't
ever invest in that at all, or you gonna be homeless.
Joseph, what's on your heart, brother?
All right. Well,
Rico, coming to you
I do think that there are forces that try to conspire to make people poor. And one of the reasons why I came to that conclusion is because when we settled the lawsuit against Coca-Cola, first of all, they started shredding documents. I knew something was wrong then, but when the judge issued a cease and desist order to Coke, and then information started leaking to us, the NAACP and the lawyers, we learned that in the 80s, Coke was paying their white employees, I think, $5,000 more than their black counterparts working the same jobs. By 1995, they were paying them $13,000 more. And then when I looked at that, I said, well, I've heard people talk about, you know, black people making less than their white counterpart and women even making less. But I had never seen it with my own eyes. So that's one of the things that showed me corporate America. Now, recently when Trump and Ben Carson got together behind closed doors to do the bidding of the rich, wealthy investors, they cut the regulations to housing. They cut billions of dollars from affordable housing, which affected Section 8 and so on and so forth. Now, I get calls every week from some investor trying to buy my house. That hadn't been happening.
Yeah.
That's a new thing. And then when my daughter's rent went from $900 to the guy wanted to jump it to $1,700.
Good Lord.
And then wanted to force her to move so that he can get that kind of money because the regulations have been altered. And then eventually she had to move out. But then when trying to find another apartment, she had problems because of a blemish on her record, her credit report.
Yeah.
So now does the system conspire to make people poor? You better believe it. I drive down Tara Boulevard to pass these extended stays, and I see families. I mean, so many families in there trying their best just to have a place to stay every 2 weeks.
Say so, bruh. Say so.
Yeah, the system conspires to make people poor. And so then I was at a meeting here recently with the county commissioners, and they were getting upset because folks were creating boarding houses out of their houses. They turned the garages into extra room. Why? Because people can't afford to pay this $1,400 and $1,500 a month for rent working at Walmart.
Yeah.
So, yes, the system conspires to make people poor, and it's done deliberately. And those people with money are the one controlling the politicians. And if we don't stand up and speak out, all of us going to be poor.
Wow. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Asking the question, is being poor a reality or a mindset? Rico, talk to me, brother.
Who?
Rico.
Oh, okay. Now, you know, we mankind, the consumers anyway, which is the majority of us, hamsters on wheel, man. And then you have a few people like Tupac that really understands it. You know what I'm saying? Like Ryan, people that can understand it, people that can foresee the future, because there's really one true thing that can only happen with nature. But, you know, sometimes you see some unnatural things like families on the side of the road. He said, man, that don't make no sense on God green earth that people have to be homeless out here like this, man, and they trying.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what else don't make sense? If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the compromise. You got to compromise between those two. You have to compromise your natural time. No, I mean, this is natural. This is something that you have to do to give your, I'm gonna say, non-conditional time that you need to give to your children and to your family, or to things that is of importance for survival. You have to sacrifice that and trade that off for money. Why? Because of the cost of living. See, we'll hear the word the cost of living and they don't even really understand what that means. You got to pay to live.
Mm-hmm.
So mankind has created a system and an institution, an economic system where you have to pay to live, where you have to survive with the cost. Can you imagine God creating life in the earth where you walk around and you can't trust the next man to look out for your best interest?
Mm-hmm.
We're in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Either we're going to be godly and do what he wants us to do, or we're going to do what business tell us to do. And business tell us each man for himself. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So we're trying to make sense out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to make sense out of accomplishing this man-made construction, along with trying to maintain the integrity that's needed to survive. But as long as things keep on getting inflated and the cost to live continues to increase, then we're going to continue to be in an unnatural order. So, you know, I mean, I think about how, you know, sometimes people don't have access and opportunity because of the way that the world is set up now, because of the systems and institutions in place. Mm-hmm. Is it a trap? Yes, it's a trap. You know, when being discouraged will cause you to be mentally and financially poor.
Yeah. Because
you give up.
Mm-hmm.
And see, some of the systems in place from day one have been designed to not only discourage certain people from trying, but to also restrict certain people from trying.
Mm.
And we have too many instances of that. So yeah, these traps do exist. But once again, it comes down to us really being to the point where we're having to conform and we're being compromised to choose between which one has the most logic and sense. Mm-hmm. Does it make more sense to be compassionate about man and to care about the priorities of life and what it's going to take us to actually get ahead in the future? Or is it going to take us to want to make it successful in this man-made economic system? Well, now, pimping was bad at one point in time, but now people are pimping themselves.
Mm-hmm.
With a value system, where somebody done told you, you know what? It's worth us paying you to have people to watch you play video games.
Mm-hmm.
That's profitable. That makes sense. Good business. As long as it makes dollars, it makes sense.
Wow.
So now you have people that's on OnlyFans that's willing to not have any kind of integrity or nothing really of any kind of benefit besides the fact that people will have found a way to reward them. See, that's what I left out. See, right about now, we have to find a way to reward ourselves by money. If we don't get that reward of money, we will not be able to pay to play. We will not be able to pay the costs that they require for us to live.
Mm-hmm.
You won't be able to get the insurance that you need. You won't be able to buy the cars that you need. Not just the things that you want, but some of the things you need. You have to go and get this man-made reward.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is going to continue to make people mentally poor. When you have people pulling those strings on that manipulated man-made creation, but everybody that's wanting to be a part of it is caught up in the spell of wanting to attain that. They want to achieve that. They want that financial success. They want man-made financial success more than they want to be recognized for being honorable or having integrity. So now we have to walk around on the planet that the Supreme created, and with the intentions of us, I think, having peace and respect in life and not even being able to trust each other.
Man, I tell you, there's a price tag on everything. There's a price tag on everything. And that's the sad reality right there. Everything, people put a price tag on everything. Everything. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart, brother? Mr. Hicks, you there? Oh, and pull it
You
back
hear
in.
me?
There you go. There you somehow you got kicked out. I don't know what happened, but yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Wow. The cats thing to survive. You know, in the world we live in, if you don't have money, you're dead. In a sense.
Wow.
I mean, so you're caught in the middle. You're trying to balance it, and the balance is not to worship, because you can't serve. You can't serve it. You know, thing like Rico's saying that you got to make you got to decide what's important. You know, the money will be here. When we leave here, everything, the world still keeps ticking. It's still going around. Everything, you know, you can't take nothing with you. You know, it's almost like having a proper value. And I guess, I don't know, I guess if you're blessed to live long enough, everything seems to require living long enough, you know, because as you grow, your mind change. I mean, your whole body change every 7 years, everything down to the very atoms you think. So it's like trying to find the guidance from the ancestors that showed you how to survive in this world. So it's just surviving to live long enough to understand some things and to be wise enough in your youth to listen to people who've been here longer. Because they don't control their life. If they're here longer, you know, they must, on some how they said only the good die young. I read this thing that was interesting years and years ago. And then I was thinking about it at my uncle's 100-year celebration yesterday. And it was said, and this is coming from a Maharishi Yogi, coming from a Hindu kind of perspective, but it says when a person lives beyond the age of 85, they don't come here no more. They join the source. And it goes into a thing to think like this here, like maybe I've been here before and I've been here as a woman. Maybe I've been here before and I've been here as a white person or Chinese person. I guess I'm getting deep now. You'll call me crazy in a minute, but I believe
ain't nobody gonna call you crazy.
I believe, you know, I thought about it when I begin to reach out beyond my culture and start being around white people and talking to them and finding out. It was like a real all kind of experiences to see them as human, because they saw them through all these other things, your parents and people around you and the lynching, you hear about all this stuff and you got sort of like a apprehension. And then when you get around them, you find out they don't know anything about the history either. They don't teach us history. We don't know history. We don't know what this thing is in America. Why all the powers, all the nobles of Europe, the Prince of, you know, the King, Queen of France and England and Portugal and Dutch and all them folks tried to crush this thing out that was happening here. They want to crush this thing. Don't let this thing happen. How can we have people ruling themselves? How can we have people having freedom to speak? We got to be able to shut up things. Don't talk about that. So we're now at a precipice in this country. We see happen politically, where the same arguments that have always been here by the powers that be is they don't want you to say certain things. They want you to agree with the lies that they're exposing. And it puts you in a position and I think, you know, I would think about maybe in the 1800s and 1700s, all those things. Every time a new generation came, the old folks said, man, what are we going to do? These young folks, man, they got so much, they dealing with so much more than we had to deal with. It's a real confusion. That is the evolution of time. I believe at the very core, everything we see and feel and know is an intelligence that's guiding everything. Well, prophecy says this here. It says there got to be a war. It says it's a war of Armageddon, where all the forces of evil is going to be around against the forces of righteousness, and there's going to be a fight. And there's going to be a battle.
Wow.
I'm off
Hey,
that.
that's good. That's good, brother. We're gonna go with Cassandra, Zamari, then we're gonna circle around. We only got a few more minutes, so I'm gonna touch as many people as I can before we get out of here. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah,
Cassandra?
probably nothing I can, yeah, it probably nothing that I can add to what haven't already been said by some member of our panel. But the bottom line is that the changes are coming so slow now. The poor, I don't know. As a Christian, the Bible says we're supposed to take care of the poor and the widows. That's the Bible. So anybody dispute that, just go and talk to God. But that's what the Bible says. That as Christians, we're supposed to take care of the widow and the poor. So when we're not doing that, and I feel like a lot of Christians, a lot of churches are not doing that. When we focus on doing our part, God can do his part. And the word says that if my people who are called up by my name would humble themselves and pray, turn from their wicked ways, seek my face, then will they hear from heaven. And God said he could heal the land. There's no healing coming to the land because we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not doing what we're supposed to do. So we can't, all of the complaining we're doing and moaning and groaning about what's happening, it means absolutely nothing until the people that say that they are the church, which is the people, it's not the building, until they change and their mindset and they do what we're supposed to do, all of us doing what we're supposed to do, there will be no change. We will have the poor with us always.
Wow. Zamari, do you think a lot of times, and we're certainly not gonna paint with a huge brush and say all the time. Okay. Do you think that let me pull you back on the screen. Do you think a lot of times the selfish people are the ones that prosper more than the giving people?
Yes, I do. Because it's for profit, right? I mean, we see it all the time with, especially with big corporations. They're not doing it for anyone but themselves. You know, so it's always about self. And the people who do have a heart to help others don't ever get there like that usually. And if they ever do, that money changes them and then they become like everybody else.
Wow.
Not in all cases, but in many. They start out humble, they start out with good intentions, but then that money gets to their head and it does change a lot of people.
Wow. Stanley, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Morning, Raheem. Doing great, man. Y'all doing okay?
Hey, doing good. Good to have you, brother. We're asking the question: Is being poor a reality, or is it a mindset? What do you say to that?
I say it's twofold. It is a mindset, but it's also a reality. Some people that grow up in poverty and that's all they know, if they don't change their environment, then they will stay impoverished. Right? I give you examples of some folks that have grown up in public housing. You know, it's a generational thing. The grandmother was there, the mom was there, the daughter's there, and they grow up that way and they don't think they can do any better. And then some people who have grown up poor have got no hold of money, but no one ever showed them how to budget their money or handle money. And they've always wanted certain things. So when they get the money, they go out and buy everything they've always wanted. And then they don't know how to manage their money. And then it becomes a reality again that they're poor.
Yep.
You know, we've been Griffin for the last month. My men's ministry have partnered with some other folks. And that tornado, they have actually 3 to 4 tornadoes that hit Griffin and demolished that area down there. So we've been down there feeding people. We fed 250 folks 3 weeks ago with spaghetti. We fed another 150 folks this weekend where we took the grill down there. We did hamburgers, hot dogs, and chicken, and gave away sodas and diapers and, coats, sweaters, shoes. And when some kids came through, and this one little girl was so excited. She's probably about 6 years old.
and she was telling her sister, "Wow, we got some brand new shoes." You know, they
Mm.
had never had new shoes before.
Wow.
So it's a lot of her mom had like 5 kids, and like I said,
Mm-hmm.
they were living in government housing and stuff like that, and they just didn't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be both. It can be a mindset, but it's also reality. Because if I give you $1 million, bro, and if nobody has shown you how to handle that $1 million, you don't know anything about a budget or financial management. Within 2 years, you could be poor again.
Let's
Look at some of the folks that won the
let's try.
lottery.
Hey, Stan,
Go ahead.
let's try that test, man. Send me $1 million and holler at me in 2 years.
Well, I'm driving right now, but I'll send you a check when I get home. But seriously, look at the people that have won lotteries over the years, and then within 2 or 3 years they broke. If you don't know how to manage money, bro, I don't care how much money you have.
Yeah.
If you don't have that mindset, you live what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
You live the life that you learn.
Yeah.
And if no one ever showed you how to sit down and do a budget, write checks, manage your money, pay your bills and all that stuff, pay yourself, then you can have $1 million and still be poor in 2 years or so.
Exactly.
So it's mindset and it's reality. It's twofold.
That's good. That's good. Ryan, talk to me, brother.
What's happening?
What up, though?
What up, though? Yeah, I had a thought and a while back, but I kind of lost it.
Yeah.
We still focusing on mindsets and traps.
Yes, traps and being poor.
Yeah,
and
being poor.
How does one dig themselves out of that hole? Because like Stanley just said, man, it could be a generational thing. If a grandmother was in the project, then the mother's in the project, then the child's in the project, then she have other kids, and they in the project. It could be a trap where they feel as though that's where they're supposed to be because the whole family has always been here. This is where we grew up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think when we first started talking about this, is people get they get put in this hole where they think they got to stay where they at, and they told their whole life that you ain't never gonna come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
The man trying to keep you down, the system trying to keep you down, and when you hear those things so many times, you get stuck in that mindset. You get stuck in that hole, and like I said, it's 2023. Like, anybody trying to hold you back no more, but people gotta stop teaching their young ones that. They got to start showing them another way or a different way, that there are things out there that you can do that can get you up out of there. I mean, there's so many. I think Rico had mentioned this a few weeks ago. There's so many different avenues out there now, mountain climbing and all of these different things that you can use. What we've been saying are kind of like those little niches, these platforms that can get you that money to get you started. But you don't necessarily have to do that. You just got to think outside that box that you put in. You don't have to look at those people over there and be jealous about what they have. Just be like, man, I need to get to where they're at and start focusing on reading. And instead of looking at the YouTube and looking at the TikTok and the Facebook, using that tool in your hand, this tool right here, and start using the Google and start reading about how you can do things to get yourself up out of that situation so you can stop being poor. I don't know about you, but when I was poor, I sure didn't want to stay that way.
Oh no. Oh no.
And I moved myself to get out of that, right? I had to, because if it was either that or go to jail. It was either that or end up dead like my cousins, or end up dead like homies over here, right? And I definitely didn't want that for myself. I've been beat up. I've been beat down. I've been shot at. It's not something that you want to continue to live through. You got to pull yourself out of that mindset and understand that there is a better life out there for you, and ain't nobody gonna hold you back from it but you.
You know what the Lions should do, man.
They should get out of that mindset of losing.
Never. They should go into hat making business. That's a sharp hat there, man. They should go into hat. Stop playing football and just go into hat making business, man. They should do pretty good.
Hey,
Let me
hat
go to
is fire. This hat is
exactly.
fire.
Oh yeah, it's a sharp hat, man. Sharp hat. Wrong team, but anyway. Badger, what's on your heart, bro?
Once again, it's mindset,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and not everyone's meant to make money. Some people are chosen to walk a path where money really isn't a thing. They'll be provided for, but they're not going to be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
But not everyone's called for that path either. So it's, you know, Cassandra has seen it. Other people have seen it. And yes, there are times where making a choice is a whole different matter.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are doing your best, the best that you possibly can, once again, like I was saying earlier, you know, we do need to acknowledge that the system isn't as helpful as people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to tell you to get a divorce. It's going to tell you to sell your house. It's going to tell you the more anything that you own is, you know, affecting what you are able to get.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes the stress levels of maintaining a job is too much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the person wasn't taught how to handle stress or taught how to handle money and things like that, and they get so overwhelmed that they find it hard to maintain that job.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they're working and they just, you know, they don't have that house that's already bought. They don't have that house that's going to be passed down to them. They have to figure out how to make 3 times as much to get approved for that apartment.
Wow.
So maybe they have to go, you know, find some friends, work with them, and hope they're actually going to keep their word and pay their part of it. You know, rent a 3-bedroom apartment, working together. Like I feel sometimes that things are said to say that things are easy. It's not easy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there are young people that are going to be fortunate to have things be passed down to them once their parents pass away and stuff like that. And then there are those that don't. They have to go out there and deal with the everyday struggle of trying to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way our society teaches selfishness, it's hard. It's a struggle.
It
'Cause,
is. It is.
you
It,
know,
mm-hmm.
you made a comment earlier about people that walk the best path that they can walk.
Mm-hmm.
Servants, people that have devoted their life to be a servant. They ain't rich.
Mm-hmm.
They get enough to survive on.
Exactly.
And when they actually are in need and they ask for help, they're told no.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
They're
Gotta
refused help.
Exactly. You gotta get ready to get out of here, man. But I'm gonna tell you something. One thing that I always had an issue with. And Cassandra, if you can stay by, let me do this right. I forgot to even do this, Cassandra. I apologize, man. You had a great event on Saturday. The event that you put on the Morris Ford Bridge, that was powerful, sis. Loved it. I loved it. That was powerful. It's Cassandra.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all we get. See, I thought she was gonna say something and elaborate on it a little bit. She said, "Thank you," and put the mic back down. Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus. But one of the things that and I know this is not what Badger meant when he said this, but one of the things that I've always had an issue with is somebody waiting for somebody, hoping and waiting. Well, I ain't gonna say hoping, but waiting for somebody to die so they could get their come up. Man, that's terrible. So basically, you said only time you're gonna be on the up and up or have something is when you're waiting on somebody to die so you can get some benefits or something like that from their death. Man, that's terrible. That's terrible to me. I don't. Rico, what do you say to that, brother? That's to me, that's terrible.
It goes back to the world we live in. I'm glad you said that, man. Cause you led into what was on my heart, man. Mankind has been compromised, and now we have to make a choice between what God loves and what man loves. See, if you're really about what God loves, Then what Cassandra said about your purpose, about taking care of men, women, children, or the children and the women and the poor, that's supposed to be true.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't supposed to be about no, well, if you can't pay, you can't play.
Yeah.
But see, here it is. We have substituted our purpose. And the main purpose was to profit from humane righteousness. That's what God wanted. And we done substituted it for a financial profit.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of humane righteous profit, people want financial profit, which is man-made. It's not natural.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the purpose being spiritual profit, we want that money. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So even the things that used to make sense and was plenty of logic, now you're stupid if you do that. Man, why you over there reading that book? Ain't nobody gonna pay you to be smarter. Who going to school? You go viral. It don't make sense to do the right thing or the logical thing no more because you know the financial profit that everybody goes after. So that's what we're stuck at. We're in between that battle. You know, even Christians. Most people in between that battle of profiting spiritually and profiting financially. And in some places you're gonna have to sacrifice one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that man-made love is what many people don't want to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to ask ourselves, you know, why, how is this mental poverty or even being created? Where is it coming from? I mean, we know it exists, but where is it coming from? How do they make it succeed? How are they making mental poverty something that's really working? And you can see it all day long. It's a matter of just breaking it down and acknowledging it, because some people ain't gonna want to acknowledge that's what the problem is, because they love financial profit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but it's real odd to me, you know what I'm saying? I always have noticed that, you know, back in the day, we always grew up wanting to be like Martin Luther King or, you know, Malcolm X. Nowadays, they want to be like Jay-Z, Young Thug, and Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they have succeeded financially. They billionaires. That's who you want to be like. You don't want to be like the first black heart surgeon or the first man that did the heart surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got all of these other people that in the past, those are the ones that people used to look up to and use as a role model or example. And this is what life is supposed about. Helping promote and move mankind forward into the future. But business don't jive with that. Business actually contradicts that, because it ain't meant to help every man get to the future. It's only meant to get certain people get to the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think God is about that. I think God is about everybody. So that's the battle. You know what I'm saying? What's causing this mental poverty? It's a desire for man-made profits.
Exactly. And with that being said, Rico, what's going on at 3 o'clock today?
If you missed today's show and would like to see or hear the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Anybody have anything on their heart before we get out of here?
I do.
Okay. Badger, you just spoke, didn't you?
Well, you said if anyone's got something on their heart.
Well, I ain't figured you was going to, after going 10 minutes, I ain't figured you was going to jump right back in, no, Badger. What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I want to throw something out there just for people to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all played a game last week of tell two truths and one lie.
Mm-hmm.
What does that teach? And then followed by that, would Jesus have played that game? That's it.
I don't think we played it. I don't think we actually played the game to a level where, you know, we was going to contemplate or think about what Jesus would do in that particular moment. That game, from where I'm standing, from where I'm standing on, that game was just a way of us to get to know each other better. The realities about who we are, and because there's a lot of things about each other that we don't know. And so that was just a game, you know, and people take things the way they want to take things, but sometimes I think, and not necessarily talking about you, Badger, but sometimes I think people take something like that and run in a totally different direction. Let me see. I'm trying to let me see. I'm trying to get this thing here. Okay, let me see here. Turn it down. There we go. Okay, but that game, to me, that game was just, and everybody may take it differently. Everybody may look at it differently or have a different take on it. It was just a way of getting to know each other, building and letting each other get to know more about each other. Two realities, possibly two things that people don't know about you already, and then one thing that's not true. It wasn't a game that's based on lying or building up a lie, nothing like that. Nah, it had nothing. It had nothing to me. It had nothing to do with that. Tamara, you wanted to say something, sis?
Yeah, I'm just kind of piggybacking off of you there. Yeah, that I know for a fact that was just for fun. That definitely wasn't a what would Jesus do situation. You know, people play games like that all the time for the purpose of how well do you know somebody.
Exactly.
So putting something out there in that context on a show like this could very well give somebody the wrong idea.
Exactly. Cassandra? Cassandra.
Yes.
What and everybody got their own take on it. What did you get from it?
It was a learning. It was just what everyone said. I don't have to go into it. So, but people take things, you know, the way that they, you know, there's a term that I use, and I'm gonna leave it right here, as our boy says. I'm gonna leave this right here. What some people are so heavenly bound they become no earthly good.
Yeah.
We got to stop trying to be super deep, super spiritual, everything, you know. I don't live like that. So let's not do that. It's just a game. Yeah. That's all it was.
Exactly. Cassandra, I'm going to come back to you. I want you to pray us out in just 1 second. I want to see Rico, he stepped away and he stepped back in. What did you get from that game, Rico?
I got enough from it to hang up because I didn't want to hear that point that was being made. I mean, you know, you once again that's what discernment comes in. You know, 1 minute we got enough common sense and discernment to do research and break down and do 2 + 2 = 4, or 4 divided by 2 = 2. But then the next minute, oh man, we just can't, you know, get no logical understanding that this is just something. I mean, the way that game went down, oh man, it wasn't that big of a deal. You know, I don't know. I ain't gonna address that, man. Just leave it alone. I mean, you go. I ain't gonna address that. That to me, that just wasn't no issue.
Okay. And see, and there you have it. Everybody have different perspectives. You know, we're not gonna say nobody's right, nobody's wrong. Everybody have a different perspective. I know how I stand on it, and everybody. I want everybody call. I want them to voice how they felt about it. Now, with that being said, Cassandra, can I get you to pray us out?
Yes, Father, first of all, we just want to thank you for your goodness and your mercy. God, we thank you right now that you've given us the ability, God, to live, breathe, and have our being, which is all in you. Father, right now, I just ask you to bless everyone under the sound of my voice. I ask you to bless every panelist on this network and on this radio show. God, we ask you right now to strengthen us, God. Give us divine direction for our lives, God. None of us, God, have all the answers, but you have them all. And if we seek your face, you will guide our path. We thank you right now, and we ask you to bless Willa, God, wherever she is today and whatever is going on while she's not here. We always miss her presence. Thank you, God, for keeping us. Thank you, God, for blessing us. Thank you, God, for using us, God, to be a light in dark places. These and all other blessings that we ask and pray in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen. And Willa gonna have us. Willa, she'll be back in a few days. And she gonna have a story to tell y'all when she get back here, boy. Y'all gonna be so excited to hear. I'm gonna let her tell you. But listen, it's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for giving us the opportunity to be a part of your morning. It is now 10:19. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. 1, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple, I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. I got threw off a little bit. Y'all excuse me. Let me start over again. Let me see. Okay. I got there are people talking to me doing my closing. No, I have to concentrate on what I'm saying. Though I'm not saying it a million times, I will get thrown off, distracted. I got a little distracted there. So let me start again. I want to thank everybody for joining us more than that. I want to thank you for allowing DK, your media group and associates, and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:20. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple, I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed. Love you. And ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light again on you. You got a responsibility. You got a responsibility. And let your responsibility shine in everything that you do. I love you. Have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.